Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupāda. Thank you for all of you for joining. And thank you those of you who will be watching a replay of this on YouTube. Okay, so please share the link. Let others know that it is live. You can share in WhatsApp or Facebook and so on, so that others can join. So today is the third episode in the Strīdharma series under the topic, not topic, but the discussing Kṛṣṇa conscious taboos theme. So we are doing this mini series within this theme, which is the Strīdharma. So today we'll be discussing a very important topic again, and I hope that we will all be learning together. We'll be going through so many verses and so on. So let others know that we're starting. Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna to all devotees. So during the class, I will not be taking a look at the comments. But if you have questions during the class, you can post your comment there. And towards the end, we'll be having a question session. So we'll be answering all questions at that time. So I'll be going through the comments and see which question you have. So that's it. Okay. So Hare Krishna to everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Please let everybody else know. Share in the KI group, share in the ISKM Mataji's group. Let them know that we're live also in this way. Okay. So we shall begin. So I will just be sharing. Okay. Oh, one moment, my laptop is not connected to a battery. Okay. We shall begin with the invocation. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjala-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahim Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuddha Padakalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschathyadishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so thank you very much for joining. We know that the title is a little provocative. The dangers of having a beautiful wife. I don't think many Matajis would be too happy to see this title, and I don't think many Prabhus will be willing to hear the truth. But we must discuss these things. This is why this is entitled Discussing Krishna Conscious Taboos. Things that are uneasy to discuss, uneasy because our lack of surrender, mainly. We don't want to be, we always have this reluctancy to surrender further and further. So one thing I'd like to say is I'm live streaming from China again, so we're using a VPN, so the connection is not always stable. So if we're getting disconnected during the live stream, please be patient. I'll try my best to come back. And let me know if there's any problem with the sound or image in the comment section. I'll take a look once in a while. So that's it. So thank you very much. All right. So the first in this Strīdharma series, the first episode was concerning child marriage. So we had discussed why it was important to marry, that the girls get married early in life. We had shown many quotations from Srila Prabhupada's books and so on, and the psychology behind all this and the science behind all this. We can summarize in this way that the whole peaceful situation of society rests on the purity of its womanhood. Of its women. And when women are very chaste, they have good qualities and so on, that means that good children are born. Because if we boil down the social structure, the system, it comes down to individuals, and individuals are what is making a society, is what is making a town, a village, a government, or whatever. So if the qualities of the individuals are good, then naturally the whole society will be in a peaceful order. And good children are born of good women and good marriage, husband and wife nicely living together, God conscious, from such very wanted union between husband and wife, good children are born. So that is why it is important for women to get married early, so that they become very much attached to their husband. When they're very much attached to their husband, they're very much faithful to the husband, and there's no divorce. No divorce means no unwanted progeny, because all children will be born of sacred marriage. And children born of outside marriage are called Varnasankara. And this Varnasankara population is always in existence, but it always takes different names. For example, the hippie movement, which was very prominent in Srila Prabhupada's time. So they were called the hippies, but actually it meant Varnasankara, or unwanted population that does not contribute to the gradual progress of human life. These are called unwanted. So generally it means those who are addicted to the 4 pillars of sinful life. So meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. So that is why it is so important to protect women in our society. And getting them married early is a very important key aspect. Because if a woman is grown up and she might not be in agreement to marry the man that the parents are choosing, because when she's grown up, she has got her own independence already, her own way of thinking, she thinks she knows things, and plus the lust has developed, and therefore the choosing of whom she should be with will not be based on Sastric guidance, but it will be based on lust, whomever she feels attracted to. And that is not the way. Physical appearance is not the main way to choose a partner in life, to choose a husband or a wife. That is not the way. According to Vedic culture, this was not the predominant factor as to whom I want to be with. This has evolved mainly in recent days, in the past decades, past century, if you want to say. So that is not good. We should not judge according to that. And this brings us to the topic of today. about beautiful wives. So us husbands to be, or husbands, should not choose our wives according to the physical appearance. This mentality is prevalent in the Kali Yuga, because one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is this. We can go see. Is that people in the Kali Yuga, they will get together simply because of sexual attraction. There will be no other factor or impetus for that. Let me see. So it's in the 12th canto. Chapter 2. So this is the symptoms of Kali Yuga. So when I switch like this, I think you can see. Can you see, because I'm trying a different way to share. So are you able to see this here? So those verses here, you see verse 1, verse 2. Just type yes in the comment section, then I will proceed. So here you see text 1, Shukadev Goswami said. Is this what you're seeing? Just type yes. Yes, Prabhuji is good. All right, so that's good. All right, so this is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 12th canto, chapter 2. It's entitled The Symptoms of Kali Yuga. So there is one. Okay, so you can see, Sukadeva Goswami said, then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory would all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. So you see all these things are diminishing. How fast? Day by day. Every single day these things are lesser and lesser in human society. And that is a big part due to the women class not being controlled. And what I mean by controlled is protected, okay? Because the women class who is not protected gives rise to unwanted progeny, and unwanted population are irreligious. They are untruthful. They are not, because truthfulness is a quality in the mode of goodness. So we are trying to create brahmanas. This is the whole idea. The brahmana, go brahmana, hitayacha, jagadita Kṛṣṇa, govindaya namo namah. So Krishna is very fond of the Brahminical culture. So the Brahmanas are supposed to be truthful, but Varna Sankara are untruthful. Cleanliness, another quality of the mode of goodness, to take shower many times a day, bathe outside and inside, clean outside the mind, inside the mind with chanting Hare Krishna, outside by showers and so on. So tolerance, mercy, all these things can be had only by actually those who are religious. Duration of life, okay, physical strength, memory, and so on. Okay, in Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered a sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior and fine qualities, and law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. So we can see that, for example, someone like Jeff Bezos, is that his name? The owner of Amazon, right? So he's very well known throughout the whole world. Social media speak about him a lot. So people have got great regard for him. But what for? Simply because he's making billions of dollars every year. He's got one of the biggest company in the world, right? So simply for this fact, he's being praised. So this is spoken in the Bhagavatam, that people who are like cows, camels, asses, they will praise the big animal. So these cow, camels, and asses, again, are Varna Sankara. They are unwanted population. They are on the basic, they have two legs, but actually they are animals because they're completely immersed in bodily concept of life, which is, which the aim is sense gratification. When we see any animal, what are they doing? They're simply gratifying their senses. So these people, they will praise anyone who has got money. Why? Because nowadays money is the means to sense gratification. That is the only logic behind this. I want money. Why? Because I can go to the best restaurant, and then get the best taste on my tongue. I want money. Why? I can go to the movie theater. I can go drink coffee. I can go dance. So it's all about engaging the senses and sense gratification. So the mentality, the impetus for actions is exactly the same as animals. It's just that because we're more intelligent, we can produce different much more variety of sense objects. That's all. Whereas a dog, he cannot manufacture anything. He has to look, okay, where's the bone and so on. But we can do things, right? You know, especially now with the advancement of technology. Every year new gadgets are coming up, and also the whole aim is based on sense gratification. If you ask anyone nowadays what is the aim of life, they have nothing else to say but this: enjoy, you know. So those men who are like animals praise a bigger animal. Wow, he's got so much money, you know, he's a good man, he's enjoying his senses in a grand way, in a grand style. So this all comes from unwanted population again. Okay, law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power, and one's power is what? It comes from money also, wealth. If you got money, you get a good lawyer and you win. Okay, so this is the verse that I wanted to come to. So yeah, let us put it in big like this. Okay, so you see here in the word by word, ratihi, so sex, vipradve, in being, reason, yeah, hetuhu, so the reason, abhiruchihi, superficial attraction, dampatye abhiruchi, relationship between husband and wife will be based on superficial attraction. It's the layer only, it's the covering layer, that's all. Superficial means surface, on the surface, just like a lake. The surface of the lake is the very, and below what is deep is unknown. So now relationships between husband and wives is simply the layers, the skin, the appearance, the form. A man will judge whether this woman is appealing, is making his sexual desire increase. If that is happening, then she's good. So the whole, it is very, very self-centered, because it is, you know, sometimes the karmis, they say that men have got their brain where their genitals are, and that just tells a great deal about their civilization, how men are. And that is a fact, that men are simply interested in exploiting women, and women are simply interested in being exploited by men. That's why they're dressing the way that they dress and so on. But there is no consideration of the other person. There's no consideration of one's true self. It is simply for the ethereal sensation that is experienced. What I mean by ethereal is that the sense objects come in touch with the sense, the senses come in touch with the sense objects. So what is experienced is an ethereal experience. You cannot see it. You're eating a piece of pizza, and there's something happening in ether. You know, your mind is feeling some, we call that maybe rasa, you know, some sort of taste that is there. And you alone know that it is happening. Well, I know also, but you alone are experiencing it. So it's simply based on this, on the gratification of the genitals, that I have got a beautiful wife or a beautiful man. And that is the holding glue for modern day relationships. It's all based on that, on sex life. And that was not at all what the acharyas have taught us, or what Vedic civilization was about. Men and women have got a great purpose to fulfill. In this material world, men require women and women require men. It's very rare that a man is capable of remaining brahmachari his whole life, not needing the assistance of a good chaste wife in his spiritual progress. We shall see some verses related to that later on. But women, when they are chaste and very faithful to the husband, they become a great help in spiritual progress. But when they are not chaste, or when they are too beautiful also, it can become a source of misery. The Lord gave a very good example with Sita Devi, who was the most beautiful woman in existence, and she attracted the attention of Ravana, you know. So when a woman is too beautiful, she will attract attention to many men, you know, and that can cause disturbances in the marriage life, especially if she's not chaste. If she's very, very chaste, then this can be overcome. But generally nowadays women are not trained to be that chaste, so therefore definitely it can cause disturbance in the marriage. Now we'll go back here to the translation. So man and woman will live together merely because of superficial attraction. And okay, So that's it. That is what I wanted to point out. And we see that this is happening. This was not happening, let's say, 100, 150 years ago. Marriages were arranged. The parents would select a young girl or a young boy, and then, okay, let's marry our children together, you know. Okay, success in business will depend on deceit. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex. You see? What do we see nowadays? Something that is very much prominent now. Every single social media, you see men that are very much big. You know, if you go back, even, okay, let's say, I'm not encouraging watching movies, okay? As devotees, we should not be watching movies. But I'll be speaking about this especially because it's influencing the entire world. You know, you probably know this Netflix, right? So the whole world is being captivated by these movies now. So even if you go back, let's say some 50, 60 years ago, the way that those stars were in movies, they look like normal people. But now all of them are training, you know, like the stars. You might know, most of you are from India, you know Bollywood, right? So how they have big muscles and all of this. So this is the way that they're attracting now. It's simply about the appearance. So he's got big muscle, he's such a man. Whereas manliness before was not judged like that. Who was a good man, you know, is the man who was very much strictly adhering to his duties. As a father, as a husband, as a disciple of the spiritual master, as a citizen in the society, as a son to his parents. So these were the qualifications that were making a man. Manliness was coming from this strict adherence to duty. This adherence to duty is very, very important because this is what is holding together the whole society. And that's why we did this Strīdharma series, so that we can know what is the duty of women. So 11:21:2, we shall go see now. The Lord is saying, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11:21:2. The Lord is saying, steadiness in one's own position is declared to be actual piety, whereas deviation from one's position is considered impiety. In this way, the two are definitely ascertained. So we can see that if a man is not providing for the family, he's not guiding his wife in spiritual advancement, he is impious because he's not steady in his dharma, in his prescribed duties, occupational duty. This is how dharma is translated, occupational duty. So duties or activities that you must perform. There's no roundabout. So this Strīdharma series is to speak about the steadiness in the position of a woman. So how can a woman be considered pious? How can she be contributing to the whole advancement of spiritual life in society? So this is what we're discussing. So, okay, I think, so we have seen, yes, that verse already. So this is why men and women get together now, simply because of superficial attraction, and that is not how we have to be. Now, why is it dangerous? Why is it dangerous to have a too beautiful wife? Now we shall discuss this. Because the whole Hridaya Granthi, the whole nut within the heart that is sticking, making us stick to this material world, to this repetition of birth and death, is the opposite sex. So when I say women, if you are in a woman's body, for women who are watching, Matajis who are watching, you should understand men, okay? But the stress is made especially for men about women. Why? Because men have got the chance to become detached. That is a distinction, whereas women has got very, very, very little chance. Because the lust in the body of a woman is 9 times stronger, as we will be seeing later on. And also the intellectual capacity to assimilate spiritual knowledge is also lesser than the one in the body of a man. So we're not trying to put women down or anything. Please do not misunderstand our motives. It's just that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is extremely open when it comes to discussing everything. So all aspects of life are discussed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and this is a very, very important aspect. So we are going to be taking a look at this verse here. So this is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 31, Text 40. The woman created by the Lord is the representation of māyā, and one who associates with such māyā by accepting services must certainly know that this is the way of death, just like a blind well covered with grass. So this is a very heavy statement, and it can be hard to swallow. So that is why we have to discuss this thoroughly, to understand the subject matter deeply. Because why, if this is 100% true always, then why is marriage allowed at all? Every single man should be encouraged to not marry under no circumstances, since it is said that women are like a dark well. So that means there's nuisance. It is not always the fact. There's two types of women. There are women that are going to be degrading men further in material existence, and there are women that are going to be helping men advance spiritually. So this māyā here, that is for women who are helping men to degrade, or not helping, but bringing men further into degrading themselves. So, but if a woman is very well behaved and she's well raised and so on, she becomes a source of inspiration for the man. Okay, so two types of women. This type of woman is the manifestation of Māyā Devi, and the other type of woman is a manifestation of Lakṣmī Devi. Okay, so we continue to read the purport of that verse. So again, the woman created by the Lord is the representation of Māyā, and one who associates with such Māyā by accepting services must certainly know that this is the way of death. So how does a man associate with women? He accepts services from such a woman. Okay, so yeah. Now, just like a blind well covered with grass. Purport. Sometimes it happens that a rejected well is covered by grass, and an unwary traveler who does not know of the existence of the well falls down, and his death is assured. Similarly, association with a woman begins when one accepts service from her, because woman is specially created by the Lord to give service to man. By accepting her service, a man is entrapped. Okay, so we can see here that the service attitude that women have for men is a creation of the Lord. The Lord has made this arrangement that women like to please men. We see that that's why they are very much careful as how they are dressed. When they are dressed nicely, men are pleased with their appearance, and they feel happy to see men pleased with them. They like to serve. And this natural propensity should not at all be seen as lower. It is not like that. We have different nature, and we must act according to this nature in order to help one another. That is all. It's not that men is higher, women is lower. Although superficially, according to the social system, this is how it is. This is a fact. But from a higher perspective, a higher level of understanding, both of them are playing their parts. Okay. By accepting her service, a man is entrapped. If he is not intelligent enough to know that she is the gateway to hellish life, he may indulge in her association very liberally. Yeah, so liberal association with women is what is very dangerous. Because association with women, you cannot avoid it, Even in our temples, so many Matajis are there. So we're talking with the Mataji, we're speaking, sometimes even we're joking and so on. But all this has to be done in a careful way. We should never think that our mind is freed from being entrapped. So we'll come back here. I just want to be showing something about the mind, because this is it, to think that, oh, now I'm good, I can talk to all women, I'm chanting 16 rounds a day, no problem. No, my friend, we have to be very much careful. We have to make sure that our mind is always protected. So this here is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, Text 4. And it's a good verse that is related to the mind and to today's topic, actually. An unchaste woman is very easily carried away by paramours. Is this how you pronounce paramours? Paramour. Okay, sorry. And it sometimes happens that her husband is violently killed by her paramours. If the yogi gives his mind a chance and does not restrain it, his mind will give facility to enemies like lust, anger, and greed, and they will undoubtedly kill the yogi. So yogi here can refer to bhakti yogi, also devotees. So two things here. The topic of an unchaste woman is very easily carried away by paramours. So you see how it is dangerous. We have even experienced that within our Krishna conscious societies, some devotees have married unchaste women, and such women have just left their husband because they were not chaste. They were carried away by some maybe paramour or lusty desires, and they just left. So we should not think that I'm wearing tilak, I'm chanting 16 rounds, my wife is wearing tilak, so we're good to go. No, we have to see by quality. Nothing is rubber stamped. Meaning, we should not think that as soon as I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm saved. No, we should still make use of our intelligence to know whom to marry. If we marry on the basis of physical attraction only and overlook a woman's character, there's great danger, So, and yes, here you can see how much the nature of a unchaste woman can degrade to the point where she can kill her husband by using the paramour. And we have seen that there's many cases like that, that women ask the man, her lover, to go kill her husband. Even Srila Prabhupada's god brother, his wife was having an affair with another man, and the son found out, and she killed the son. And then I believe she committed suicide and so on. So, so just see. So, and this is not, you see why it's so important to discuss this. We should not think that, okay, well, these are crazy women. Some women are really crazy and it happens. No, the women nature is spread out throughout the whole spectrums of women, from the lowest that are chandalas and so on to the highest women in the heavenly kingdom. The woman nature is the same. It's just that it is purified or it is degraded. But it all plays in the same spectrum. So any woman who becomes degraded will develop the same types of qualities, and any woman that is elevated will develop the same good qualities. So the spectrum is the same. That means that every single woman has got the chance to degrade to such very low status of existence. Okay, so, and it sometimes happens that her husband is violently killed by her paramour. If a yogi gives his mind a chance and does not restrain it, his mind will give facility to enemies like lust, anger, and greed, and they will doubtlessly kill the yogi. So within our society, we have to be very careful to be Krishna conscious, focus on serving the Lord. Our dealings with Matajis, or Matajis dealing with Prabhus, should be on the basis of service only, and nothing else. There should be no, oh, I feel like talking to this Mataji now. No, or oh, this Prabhu is there, let me go near him to do service. No, that is not the proper way. It should be, especially for married, I mean, for everyone. But sometimes you have unmarried women who are, wanted to get married, and of course they will have these thoughts that I want to marry this Prabhu and so on. That is another thing, but still it is not recommended. But anyway, so we have to be careful on how we deal with each other in temples in our society. Okay. Okay, this is a short purport. So in this verse, the word pumschali refers to a woman who is easily carried away by men. So pumschali refers to actually prostitute. There's 3 types of women, and pumschali is the meaning is she is very easily seduced by other men. That is called pumschali. Such a woman is never to be trusted. Unfortunately, in the present age, women are never controlled. According to the directions of Shastras, women are never to be given freedom. When a child, a woman must be strictly controlled by her father. When she is young, she must be strictly controlled by her husband. And when she is old, she must be controlled by her elderly sons. Again, this control doesn't mean she becomes a slave. No, it means she has her freedom to act, no doubt about that, but within a limited spectrum that is controlled by the husband or the father and so on. Because on the basis of Sastra, not I make my own laws. You can do this, you cannot do that, according to my willing. No, the husband also has to be controlled by the spiritual master. In this way, there's a chain of control that is going up, all the way to Kṛṣṇa himself. So this, when a woman actually listens to the husband, she's actually listening to Kṛṣṇa through the representation of her husband. If she is given independence, sorry, just double check, okay. If she is given independence and allowed to mingle unrestrictedly with men, she will be spoiled, yes. So women should not be allowed to mix very freely with other men. That is not good. One of them, why especially, is because that will break the valve of control, which is shyness. So women can be protected when they are shy. That is the control valve. If this shyness in women is broken, this is spoken by Bhishmadev to Maharaj Yudhishthira when he was in his bed of arrow. For many, many days, Bhishmadev instructed on all aspects of religious principles to Maharaj Yudhishthira, and he said that when this shyness in women is set loose, you cannot control her anymore. So we have to be careful of women who are too open, really not shy, and really spoiled. This is not actually wanted, you know. Why this covering of the head? Why wearing ankle belts? Saris. All these principles are there so that women can keep their shyness nicely. A spoiled woman being manipulated by paramours might even kill her husband. This example is given here because a yogi desiring to get free from material conditions must always keep his mind under control. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur used to say that in the morning our first business should be to beat the mind with shoes 100 times, and before going to bed to beat the mind 100 times with a broomstick. So what does that mean? Do we really take a shoe or a broomstick? Of course not. So the meaning is this, is the mind will suggest things, and every time that you know, that is beating the mind. So the mind will say, hey, press snooze, sleep another 10 minutes. No, boom, one beat of the mind. Hey, why don't you take a nice, long, warm shower, that would be nice. No, another beating of the mind, So in this way, you beat, say no. This is how we have to tame the mind. Okay, evening time, hey, why don't you watch some videos on YouTube instead of reading Prabhupada books? No. So every time there's a suggestion by the mind and you slap him in the face, this is a victory for the yogi. In this way, one's mind can be kept under control, yes. Just like a wild animal, a tiger, you whip, and at one point, he'll listen. Similar, it's the same thing with the mind. You must beat the mind. Never make friendship with the mind. An uncontrolled mind and an unchaste wife are the same. An unchaste wife can kill her husband at any time. And an uncontrolled mind, followed by lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, and illusion, can certainly kill the yogi. When the yogi is controlled by the mind, he falls down into the material condition. One should be very careful of the mind. just as a husband should be careful of an unchaste wife. Yeah. So we should not trust our mind. We should not think that, you know, I'm chanting Hare Krishna and there's no need for me to be too careful now with the Matajis, because the Matajis are all devotees. It doesn't matter, huh? So we're okay. Not like that. The mind can any moment it can come back. 11:28:28 is another one concerning the mind. So we'll go see this quickly, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this is Canto 11, Chapter 28, Text 28. I'm not reading the Sanskrit, I'm sorry, because I want to be putting as much content as possible, and sometimes when I try to go fast, I stumble in the Sanskrit pronunciation. Just as an improperly treated disease recurs and gives repeated distress to the patient, the mind that is not completely purified of its perverted tendencies will remain attached to material things and repeatedly torment the imperfect yogi. So, unless we are completely beyond three modes of material nature, there's always a chance that lust will resurface within the mind. So therefore, what the Shastra says, you should not sit next to your mother, sister, or daughter even. Just see how strict Shastra is. Now you might see, well, daughter? You know, who will feel lust for the daughter? Low-class man only, isn't it? Shastra says no, even a learned man, he should not. So just see how this is not, we should not think that no, it's not possible, this is so degraded, how can a man have thoughts of lust with his daughter? There are many instances that we hear that a father has abused a daughter. Of course, this is, you know, very, very degraded, but it is possible. These things can occur. So, of course, you know, we are not so advanced as to follow all these principles so strictly, that never with my daughter, even with my mother or sister. But the fact is this, is that the more one becomes serious, the more he will be alert to such subtle restrictions of Shastra. He will understand why. Yes, it's true, you know, if I'm next to my sister or something, because mode of passion, it is said that woman is like fire, man is like butter. So you bring both nearby, there's only one thing that is bound to happen, you know. So okay, now let's go back. Enough to know that she is the gateway to hellish life, you may indulge in her association very liberally. Yes, so liberal association with women should be restricted. This is restricted for those who aspire to ascend to the transcendental platform. Even 50 years ago in Hindu society, such association was restricted. A wife could not see her husband during the daytime. Householders even had different residential quarters. The internal quarters of the residential house were for the women, and the external quarters were for the men. Acceptance of service rendered by a woman may appear very pleasing, but one should be very cautious in accepting such service, because it is clearly said that woman is the gateway to death, or forgetfulness of oneself. She blocks the path to spiritual realization. Okay, many important instructions here. So, some of you might know that another name for women is antarjana. In India, one of the name is called antarjana. So, antar means within, jana, the people within. So, because according to Vastu Sastra, the way of architecture and you know, arranging everything according to different directions and so on, which is also known in China a little bit, called a feng shui, right? So it's all based on Vastu Sastra. For example, you know, doors should not be facing south and all these things. So according to Vastu Sastra, there's a way to build one's household compound. So it is based, there's the Vastu Purusha, which is, it's a square, big square like that. So this is your plot of land, okay? And it should be going towards the east. And then there's so many things, like if there's a river passing at the south, flowing from east to west and so on, it's auspicious. And there's many things, while selecting a plot of land. So, and how the household was made is that this is your plot of land, and then the house within occupies, I believe is 1/9. So there's this center square. This is the household, and the household will be divided. So they would be the outer compounds, and sometimes there would be inner compounds also. Or anyway, so in this way you have kind of 4 small houses, or sometimes it's just 1, sometimes it's 2, in this way. And actually in China here, before they used to follow that. So you could see that Vedic culture had some influence here. This is the way that it was. So from outside it looks like one house, but as you enter the first wall, then there's an inner courtyard. And then you see that there's different, it's actually a square, right? So there's kitchen and so on, and toilet used to be outside. There was no such thing as toilet within the house before. So Antarjana, women, used to be within the inner compound of the house. So they were not outside at the forefront. The men were there, and within was the, So in this way, women together had their daily lives. They had their activities that they had to perform, their duties. For example, churning milk. We learned from Krishna's life how the mothers churn milk. The young gopis also do that. And this way they produce butter, And this training is very, very good, because it not only is physically good, because every day you're using strength, so you stay fit. Women could stay fit in this way. They did not have to do some artificial jogging or, cycling, all this stuff. No, simply by doing their duty and maintaining the whole household by giving the best product, all the byproducts of milk. So they had their social life, women together, and men had their social life. They had their respective duties, and they will, of course, meet at times for social functions, sacrifices that they were to perform together, or the night time, So in this way they were separate. And not only were the quarters separate, but nighttime also, husband and wife did not used to stay together. Even, I'm sure, if you ask your grandparents whether they used to stay in one room in the nighttime, I'm sure most of them will say no. They used to sleep separately. So in our personal life, somehow, it has happened that before the birth of our son, we have stopped sleeping in the same room at night. So we are sleeping separately for 5 years plus now. And we find it very, very nice, actually, because first of all, there's less chance of indulging. Obviously, this is the obvious. There's less chance of indulging in sex for pleasure only, not for procreating children. Then, for men, it is easier to be fixed up in his own sadhana, because I go to bed alone and I wake up alone. So waking up from an empty bed is very easy, whereas waking up from a bed with a woman in it is less easy. So that is there. And also my wife is there with the children. They're having their night activities, evening activities in the room, and I can have more time for my reading, my studying Prabhupada books in this way. So it's very congenial, and it helps reach the goal of Grihastha Ashram, which is to be able to live together without sex. That is, who can do that? You search throughout the whole world, which karmi will agree to this even? They will say, then what's the point? That's what they'll say. What's the point of getting married or having a husband or wife? Because as we saw in the beginning of this session, Kali Yuga means this, sex. So what, living separate? You crazy, Then why should I work so hard? Why should I maintain children? Why should I, if I don't have this? This is what they'll say. So only devotees practically can come to this But even, before in strict Hindus families, because Hindu means devotee, it means, generally Kanishtadikari. Every Hindu is a devotee of Krishna, some way or other, to some degree. It might be in the lowest stage of Kanishtadikari, but they have some respect for Krishna. So because Hindu actually means Varnashram Dharma, those who follow Varnashram Dharma, so they have these regulations also. So in strict Hindu families also they were able to live husband and wife separate from one another without sex. So then what is the pleasure of husband and wife together? Devotional service. This is the pleasure, to see one's wife advance spiritually, to see one's husband advance spiritually and perform service together. It becomes very nice. Now, it's not that there's no intimate dealing. These things can happen once in a while, but there's no, there's lesser and lesser need for that. Of course, women, they do need attention. It's not that the man neglects the wife. No, the man will also act properly to please the wife and whatever she requires. But this sex life becomes something among so many other things. So this is why Prabhupada often mentions that in Vaikuntha Loka, every man has got the form of Narayana, which is the most beautiful male form, and every woman has got the form of Lakshmi Devi. So they're all expansions, not direct expansions, but they're all just like Draupadi. Draupadi is said to be an expansion of Lakshmi Devi, but she's not Lakshmi Devi directly, She's empowered by Lakshmi Devi. So in this way, in Vaikuntha Loka, men and women live together, but they're all so Krishna conscious, so absorbed in the service that there's no even thoughts of this sex life. Okay. Acceptance of service rendered by women, may appear very pleasing, but one should be very cautious in accepting such service because it is clearly said that women is the gateway to death or forgetfulness of oneself. We have practical experience, of devotees who were doing well in their devotional life, and they started to have illicit connection with women. Illicit connection with women means this: to talk to women for other purposes than service. Anything else that is not for service or related to service in some way or other within the realm of service must be for one's own senses, and that is the trap. And we have seen how such devotees have been completely bewildered and deviated from the path, so much so that they fell down. And it started subtly, small thing. Oh, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you? Oh, okay, yeah. The ice is broken, and then more. So even though a man might say, yes, I'm chanting 16 rounds, I know so many verses, this and that, and if his mind is stolen by a woman, what is the use of all this? The whole point is to become freed from this lust. So 11:26:12 Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Canto 11, chapter 26, text 12. What is the use of a big education or the practice of austerities and renunciation? And what is the use of studying religious scriptures, of living in solitude and silence, if after all that, one's mind is stolen by a woman? So we might know thousands of shlokas, we might wake up at 1 in the morning, austerities, right? We might, not be interested in money or, acquiring material things. Here again, studying, all the books of Prabhupada. If after all of this, one's mind is stolen by women. Prabhupada gave many times the example of the Babajis in Vrindavan. They're renowned, but they have many wives. Prabhupada called them just like the monkeys. The monkeys are very austere. They're renowned, but they have many wives. Mind is again stolen by women. We are enjoying the very same thing that we're trying to renounce. We fall down enjoying the very thing that Shastra is telling us we have to give up, sex life. So, Okay, just one moment. Shift 1, shift 7. Shift 1, shift 7. Okay, I can switch like this. Let me see if it works like that. Oh, it doesn't work when I'm in another tab. And then it's useless. Okay. So yes, so this is it. And then the end of that purport is a very strong statement. She blocks the path of spiritual realization. Yeah, so she is the manifestation of Maya. If a woman is not is let loose, and our mind is let loose as men, women becomes the manifestation of Maya. Maya makes us fall down in the form of a woman. She blocks the path to going back to Godhead. Women comes, and we have so many examples. How did what is Agastya Muni, is it? You know, I might be mistaking here. Anyway, the sage who was meditating, he was meditating underwater, and he saw these two fish have sexual intercourse, and then he went and married, how many daughters of a king, women. How Indra is trying to always distract the great ascetics who are performing austerity so that they don't come and get his post. How does he distract them? He sends a beautiful woman, right? There's so many examples that are there in this we can see. So therefore, women must be careful not to be a representation of Maya, but a representation of Lakshmi Devi, and men must be careful not to let their mind go and roam about and very openly discuss with other Matajis who are not their wives, Okay, so this is one verse we have done. So again, we'll continue to study a little bit more why thinking of women very freely is very bad for us men. And men means for women it means men, but especially for men, again, because actually it is good, to their husband. So this is Canto 6, Chapter 18, Text 30. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma, the father of the living entities of the universe, saw that all the living entities were unattached. To increase population, he then created women from the better half of man's body, for woman's behavior carries away a man's mind. So you see, all the men in the beginning of the universe, they were unattached. So there was no mode of passion, there was no activity, there was no impetus for material existence. And then when women was created, then everything manifested. So there's one funny story concerning this. It's in Following Śrīla Prabhupāda's series, which I recommend everyone to watch. You go on YouTube, you type Following Śrīla Prabhupāda. It's a 11 video series that are about 3 hours each, and it's in a chronological order from the beginning of the movement up to the disappearance of Prabhupada. So anyway, so one of the devotees there that was a new sannyasi at that time when Prabhupada was there, Prabhupada was with him in New York, and he asked his disciple, who was a sannyasi, he said, "Have you seen the New York women?" So he's saying, "Oh my God, I was a sannyas, and my spiritual master is asking me, have you seen the New York women?" So I did not know what to reply, so I stayed silent, So then Prabhupada said, "And they're so beautiful," and then he said, "And because of them, men work very, very hard, and all these skyscrapers are rising, So Prabhupada saw the beauty of the New York women, but he related that to Krishna, his external energy. So he was Krishna conscious, obviously. So you see, it's a fact. So man will go to such extent as to build a 200-story building for women. And this is the only impetus. If there's no, because men will be doing all these activities so that they can, earn bread, right? Earn the money. And why earn money? Because you have to maintain the wife, the wife. So it all starts from there. The material expansion starts from attachment to women, men attached to women. So better half of a man's body, because the woman's behavior carries away a man's. Okay. This entire universe is going on under the spell of sexual attachment, which was created by Lord Brahma to increase the population of the entire universe, not only in human society but also in other species. As stated by Rishabhadev in the 5th canto, yeah, this is a very important verse that we'll go see. Pumsa striya mituni bhavametam. The entire world is going on under the spell of sexual attraction and desire between men and women. When a man and woman unite, the hard knot of this attraction becomes increasingly tight, and thus a man is implicated in the materialistic way of life. This is the illusion of the material world. This illusion acted upon Kashyapa Muni. Although he was very learned and advanced in spiritual knowledge, as stated in the Manu Samhita. So Kashyapa Muni, he was very much attached to his wife also. Of course, he's a great Muni. He managed to become detached. Okay, so this is what we've spoken about. So a man should not associate with a woman in a solitary place, not even with his mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they lead astray even a person advances knowledge. So that's what I'm saying. I was mentioning that Prabhupada actually is saying that not that a low-class man only should not associate with one mother, sister, or daughter. No, even someone advanced in knowledge should not. Because the senses are so strong, yeah. When a man remains in a solitary place with a woman, his sexual desires undoubtedly increase. Undoubtedly. So when we are alone, and this is a fact, we can all experience that. I'm alone, okay, let's say even in a temple, somehow or other, one Prabhu and one Mataji are alone. All of a sudden, all the other devotees are gone. Immediately, the mood changes. You know, oh, I'm alone with a Prabhu here. And then, oh, I'm alone with a woman here. So, how strong this lust is, that it's going to be infiltrating even at a time when we thought that everything was fine. And all of a sudden, the attraction arises, right? So, we have to be very careful. Very, very careful. We should never think that this is it. I'm gone. There was one devotee friend of mine. He was telling me a story. You know, he was brahmachari for I don't know how many years, like 15 years or so. No sex. You know, 15 years, and he thought like, you know, this is it. I made it. You know, I'm freed. And after he started to think like that, he fell down. He fell down with a woman. You know, so. Of course, he's a nice devotee. It can happen, you know. Everybody is not. So, but after that, he understood that, wow, you know, how much I was not careful, and I was very proud that I thought now I'm freed from the illusory energy of the Lord. And he was shown that no, he wasn't free, you know. So always be cautious. Therefore, the words ekanta bhutani, which are used here, indicate that to avoid sexual desires, one should avoid the company of women as far as possible. Sexual desire is so powerful that one is saturated with it if he stays in a solitary place with any woman, even his mother, sister, or daughter. Just see. This is Sastra. We should not think that we're above Sastra. Sastra says that sexual desire is so powerful that even if we're alone with a mother, sister, or daughter, it will subtly arise. And here's the trick, how to diminish this lust. Here it is. Avoid sexual desire. One should avoid the company of women as far as possible. That's all. We should just avoid. No, should not be. So just like if you go in the downtown of a big city, women are everywhere. Obviously, it's more easy to be agitated. But if one lives in the countryside, you know, and he doesn't see so many women and so on, naturally it would be much more easy for him to control his lust. And that's why Gurukula was outside of the city. It was far from the town, and in a place where there's no women. Only the boys were together. So in this way, as they grew up, even though they reached 15 years old, they were not disturbed. But now, some 13-year-old boy are already disturbed by lust, because of always being with women from a very young age. But before, it did not arise until 18, 19, 20. That was the age where boys were starting to feel the lust come in, whereas girls is 12, 13 in this way. So, yeah. So, okay, this is important. Now we can go see this verse that was quoted. I believe it's 558. Striya mituni bhavametam. Lord Rishabhadev. So why we are seeing these verses? Because are too beautiful and we're too attached to them. They will not be playing the part of Lakshmi Devi, but they will be playing, of course, partly. It's just like there's a play, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was performing his pastimes with his associate. At one point he played the Mohini Murti form, the Mohini incarnation. So in the play, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was playing the part of Mohini Murti. And, playing the part, he is Mohini Murti. So who can play better? And his devotees saw that. And the comment they said is, our dear Lord, this form of yours, this Mohini Murti of yours, is partly Lakshmi Devi and partly Māyā Devi. So if this is true for the female form of the Lord, the Mohini form, and what to speak of, our wives? They can be both, certainly. They can be both our helpers, and they can also be, entangling us in this material life. So this is spoken by Lord Rishabhadev, very important verse. Pumsa striya mituni bhavametam tayor mituradaya granthi mahu ato grihakshetra sutapta vittairi janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Very important verse, very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada, 558. So pumsa, male, striya, female, mituni, bhavam, attraction for sexual life. So the attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. Basic means it's the basis. This is how it all starts from. We saw Lord Brahma created female so that the material existence begin. I mean to say the mode of passion, that there is creations. Otherwise the men were not doing anything. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, Hridaya Granthim, the knot of the hearts. This is what is holding us to this material world, this sex. One becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine, aham mameti, aham mama iti. So it increases, and where does it start? It starts with the basic conception of male and female, and then, okay, what happens? Then you're very much attached to your body. Oh, this body I have, this is my wife, this is my wife's body, belongs to me. And then you need a home, you have a wife, you need a house. Oh, this is my house, I have bought it, look, I have the papers, okay, it belongs to me. Property, you got land, right? Yeah, you have this is my field, I grow my food here. Then you need children, these are my children, grandchildren, relatives, auntie, uncle, it expands, money, bank balance, and boom, 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 one after another, the network of illusion is just tighter and tighter, I and mine. So therefore, that is why it's so important to discuss this topic, is that our wives might be both. They might help us advance spiritually, yes, but they might also be actually harmful if they're not chaste enough, or if we are slack in our spiritual practice. If us husband becomes slack in our spiritual practice, we will become too attached to our wives, okay? And that is not good, as we have shown. So we can go see, okay, there's the story also of Dhruva Maharaja, I'm sure you know, how King Uttanapada, he was attached to his younger wives, right, Suniti. So this is Bhagavatam 4:8. Canto 4, chapter 8. So we can maybe fly through it. Okay. So you see here. So once upon a time, King Uttanapada was patting the son of Suruchi, Uttama, placing him on his lap. Dhruva Maharaj was also trying to get on the king's lap, but the king did not very much welcome him. So Suruchi was his second wife, King Uttanapada's second wife, the youngest wife. He was very much attached to her. And her son was Uttama, While the child, Dhruva Maharaj, was trying to get on the lap of his father, Suruchi, his stepmother, became very envious of the child, and with great pride she began to speak so as to be heard by the king himself. Queen Suruchi told Dhruva Maharaj, "My dear child, you do not deserve to sit on the throne or on the lap of the king. Surely you are also the son of the king. But because you did not take your birth from my womb, you are not qualified to sit on your father's lap." Just see the envious nature. A 5-year-old boy who's trying to just sit on his father's lap, and you speak to him like this. "My dear child, you are unaware that you were born not of my womb, but of another woman. Therefore you should know that your attempt is doomed to failure. You are trying to fulfill a desire which is impossible to fulfill. If you at all desire to rise to the throne of the king, then you have to undergo severe austerities. First of all, you must satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. And then when you are favored by him because of such worship, you shall have to take your next birth from my womb." So Dhruva Maharaj, was very much aggrieved for that. And the king Uttanapada did not say anything. Why? He did not say anything. Because he was too attached to his son, too attached to his wife. He could not say because she was the favorite. To attach means what? It means to attach to sex. She was young, beautiful, beautiful queen. So he could not, so she was envious, envious of the child. So here, the king, of course, was equally affectionate towards both his sons, Uttama and Dhruva. So he had a natural inclination to take Dhruva as well as Uttama on his lap. But because of his favoritism towards his queen Suruchi, he could not welcome Dhruva Maharaj, despite his feelings. King Uttanapada's feeling was understood by Suruchi. So the young wife, she understood, oh, I'm controlling the king. He does not want to take Dhruva because he's attached to me. So she knew. And therefore, with great pride, she began to speak about the king's affection for her. This is the nature of women. If a woman understands that her husband regards her as a favorite and is especially affectionate to her, she takes undue advantage. These symptoms are visible even in such an elevated society as the family of Svayambhuva Manu. Therefore, it is concluded that the feminine nature of women is present everywhere. And that we have spoken about. The spectrum of the woman nature is spread out throughout the whole creation. It's not that the woman is free from that. No, that is there. So therefore, if us, husband, become too attached to our women, what will happen? They will exploit that. They will see that now my husband is too affectionate to me. And I can, he's henpecked. I can control him. And that is not good. So this is the nature of women, and we have to all address the matter soberly. Women must understand that this is dangerous. They can become like that. They can become like that. This is because this is a programmation of human nature made by the Lord himself. And if they're let loose, or if the husband is too attached to the wife, and he's not capable of guiding her or bringing her to the mode of goodness, she will drag him down to the mode of passion, because she will be controlling him. So again, in the same 8th chapter of the 4th canto, the same story concerning Dhruva Maharaj here. So this is later on text 65, so 4.8.65. So the king is saying, the king replied, "O best of the Brahmanas, I am very much addicted to I believe he's speaking to Narada Muni. I am very much addicted to my wife, and I am so fallen that I have abandoned all merciful behavior. even to my son, who is only 5 years old. I have banished him and his mother, even though he is a great soul and a great devotee. Just see. So because of too addicted to one's wife, one can become merciless. He can treat others very bad just to please the wife, the envious nature. So even to my son, just see. Here. The king said that since he was very much addicted to his wife, he had lost all his mercy. That is the result of becoming too affectionate toward women. The king had 2 wives. The first wife was Suniti, and the second was Suruchi. He was too attached to the second wife, however, so he could not behave well with Dhruva Maharaj. That was the cause of Dhruva's leaving home to perform austerities. Although as a father the king was affectionate toward his son, he minimized his affection for Dhruva Maharaj because he was too much addicted to the second wife. Now he was repenting that both Dhruva Maharaj and his mother, Suniti, were practically banished. Okay. According to Manusmriti, one should never desert his wife and children. In a case where the wife and children are disobedient and do not follow the principles of home life, they are sometimes given up. But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, this was not applicable because Dhruva Maharaj was mannerly and obedient. Moreover, he was a great devotee. Okay, so this is it, So the king lamented. He said, what did I do? Because of my attachment for my wife, who is envious, because that is the thing, when the woman is not being brought up, because the nature of material world is to degrade. That is the nature. Everything diminish. Mata means it goes down, just like a beautiful flower. The nature is that it will tan and I forgot the word. So a beautiful house, if you don't maintain it, it will degrade. So similarly, a woman's nature, if it is not maintained by the instructions of her husband or the instructions of the spiritual master and so on, it will degrade. It will degrade more and more. And this is why this Varnashram dharma, all these religious principles are very important so as to elevate the culture of human society. So each one of us has got a specific nature, and the engagements, according to Varnashram system, will help us to rise within the modes. But if we give up such engagements, artificially give up, to not accept, because sometimes the engagements of Varnashram system are given up for a higher purpose, which is to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Okay, but that is in very rare cases. Okay, just like, for example, disobedience to father. Shastra says father is like heaven, you cannot disobey at any time. But if you want to become a devotee, you want to surrender, you want to become brahmachari in the temple, then that is okay. But this surrender has to be genuine. If you give up this lower principle and you don't accept a higher principle, you will degrade lower than what you used to be. And this is what Prabhupada said with the hippie movement. He said those hippies, they have become disillusioned with the way of lives of their fathers and mothers that are simply, economic development and buying this and that. And they thought, what is this materialism? So they gave up. Actually, hippies are very much renounced materially, in the material sense that they didn't want home, they didn't want material acquisition, cars, beautiful things. They renounced all of that. But because they could not grasp a higher principle, which is drug and sex. They became all addicted to sex and drugs and lying down here and there, and they became unhealthy, unclean, and they became addicted more to sinful activities. So that principle of being obedient to the father and mother, so when it's renounced and there's nothing else accepted that is higher, it degrades lower. So that's why those principles of obedient to the father, obedient to the mother, it's important also in society. As devotees, we don't say that it's all nonsense, all this thing, Krishna only. No, we're not on that level. So therefore, one of our roles is to act as brahmanas in society, which is also to give us instructions. Prabhupada, sometimes when he was preaching, he knew that this person is not going to become Krishna conscious. A preacher is expert at knowing time, place, and circumstance, and what to speak of an expert preacher. like Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes he will instruct just, why don't you get your daughter married? She should be married and so on. And or you don't have a job, you should get a job. So it happens sometimes, like some private exchange with some maybe old friend or so on. Prabhupada would speak like this. Why don't you get your son married? And so these are principles of the Varnashram system. So the pure devotee knows that this person is not going to become Krishna conscious, not going to surrender, but at least let me, push forward some little principles that will regulate the life, So those hippies degraded. They went even more in the mode of ignorance, But that renunciation linked with Krishna consciousness is very nice. Because then they renounced this materialistic way of life, and look how Prabhupada pushed the whole movement. They were already renounced. Whereas when our devotees come from very strict families that keep them, no, you must go to school, you must be like that, you must go there. It's harder to surrender. But those hippies, yeah, they left home. Prabhupada, okay, you go to this country, oh, I'll go, Prabhupada, no problem. They had no one to answer to. They were already free birds, you see. So this renunciation added in Krishna consciousness is very nice. Because to renounce this materialistic way of life like the hippies did is not something easy. This vairagya of, not wanting house, cars, but it's something very hard to acquire. And these hippies, they got it. So that's nice. So therefore, Prabhupada said, sometimes I like these hippies. And we see what he did with them. Okay, we go to this country. We go to 1970. He brought so many, of course, there were no hippies. There were devotees. I don't want to be, don't misunderstand me that I'm calling them hippies even after, but the beginning where he picked them from, right? That was the background. So in 1970 he brought so many of them to India, and then he traveled, and then wow, so much influence they had. So very easily he could move them around the world. You go there, you go there, you do this, you do that. Whereas devotees who come from good families that follow more standardized system of respecting the mother, respecting the father, getting married early, and so on, then it becomes an impediment to surrender to Krishna. So we can see how Varnashram institution, the regulations can be both good for spiritual advancement, or sometimes it can be bad because it can block actually your surrender, right? And renouncement of those principles can sometimes be good or sometimes be bad. If you renounce but you're not picking up Krishna consciousness, you degrade lower. Yeah. So, okay. Yes, so this is, so the king the king was too addicted to his wife, and that was the nature of women. If they become let loose, then this will occur. Envy, envious nature. Because what does envy come from? Envy comes from lust. The more there's lust, the more there will be envy. Because envy means I envy that person, right? Okay. All right. First, we'll go see we'll describe a bit envy so that we understand what envy is. There was a nice description of envy given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as well as Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So here, since I'm sharing like this, okay, I'll be reading to you only, okay? So do listen. So this is Bhaktisiddhanta Vani, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, envious and wicked persons. I cannot do any good, but I can harm you. Now tell me, you give me in return for this. There is a proverb in Sanskrit, asakto ham griharambhe sakto ham griha bhanjane. I am so incapable that I cannot begin the work of building a house, but I am especially expert in turning even a big palace into dust. This is the character of envious and wicked persons. People of low nature are capable of spoiling the work of others, but are unable to do any good for anyone. A rat can easily spoil many invaluable books, clothes, or stocks of grains, but cannot produce any of these. As a result of great fortune, the seed of sincere faith in God and His devotees can sprout in the heart of a living entity. Even after the performance of hundreds of births of renunciation and austerities, one cannot attain even a particle of faith. Okay, so you see how an envious person thinks. Envious person wants to destroy only. So again, Okay, now this is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes envy very nicely. What is envy? Okay, listen to this. This is from Sajjana Toshani, 4.6. To become happy on seeing others' distress, and to become distressed on seeing others' happiness is called envy. That is envy. Okay? I'm walking. Oh, you bought a new car? Really? Okay. I'm envious of that person. I want to smash your car, And boom, he gets an accident. Haribo. Okay, of course not Haribo. But you get the point. So that is envy. You surpass me in any way, I become despondent. And when your relative die and so on, I become happy. Envy is diametrically opposite to love of God. Diametrically opposite. Because love of God means wishing only the best for every living entities, even one's own enemy. But envy means wishing the worst for everybody, even one's own friend, so-called friend. If he gets up, your wife is more beautiful than mine. Oh, really? You become envious, right? So to become happy on seeing others' distress and to become distressed on seeing others' happiness is called envy. Envy and love are contradictory and hence mutually exclusive. Wherever there's envy, there's no question of love. And wherever there's love, there's no question of envy. And then later on, Sajjana Tushani 4.7, non-enviousness is the cause of a living entity's liberation, and enviousness the cause of their bondage. Can an envious person feel compassion for other living entities, develop faith in the Vaishnavas, and become lower than the straw in the street? A person who feels distress upon seeing others' happiness can never show compassion to other living entities. He cannot worship the Supreme Lord with a simple mind. Due to his perverted nature, he maintains hatred and enviousness towards the Vaishnavas. It is to be understood that a person who has completely divested himself of envy has actually understood the purport of the Trinadapi Sahishnuna. So you see, and the womanly nature, if not properly guided, will degrade to that envy. Because if I give up lust, Narada Muni, he says how to give up envy. You give up sense gratification. Because as soon as you give up sense gratification, there's no reason to be envious of anyone because there's no competitor. Because sense gratification means this whole world is meant for my enjoyment. I'm driving on this road. This road is meant for my service. I want to go where I have to go. Why are you driving in front of me? Why are you cutting in front of me? How dare you? Don't you know that I'm the king? All this belongs to me. It is meant for me to go to the restaurant at the moment. I want to satisfy my stomach. How dare you cut me? Beep, beep, beep. You become angry. If the guy gets an accident, you laugh at him. Envious. We have the mentality that, everything is meant for my enjoyment, right? So you start to see in this way. And that is lust. The desire to gratify one's senses is called lust. Okay, and the epitome of lust is sex life. Just like you said, the Himalayas. As soon as you say Himalayas, you can think of Everest. So Everest is of course, from our material vision, Everest is the highest peak. So this is sex life. Okay. So since lust is 8 to 9 times more powerful in the body of a woman, then envy can very easily come. And therefore we see sometimes, materialistic women, some women come and, hey, yeah, how are you? And then she goes away. And then the 2 other women, she lost her job a few days ago. Oh, really? Why? What happened? Yeah. And they'll talk like that, So this envious nature of a woman has to be checked. So we can see the lust, how it is strong. This is Kṛṣṇa Muni, husband of Devahuti, father of Kapila Dev. After coming back to his hermitage, he divided himself into 9 personalities just to give pleasure to Devahuti, the daughter of Manu, who was eager for sex life. In that way, he enjoyed with her for many, many years, which passed just like a moment. So Kṛṣṇa Muni is a perfect yogi, which means he can do whatever he wants. So he multiplied himself. So his wife Devahuti was having sex with 9 husbands. One husband, but 9. Okay, so they enjoyed together, right? They had this spaceship, city spaceship that could go everywhere. So she saw everything. She saw the whole universe. She became very sexually stimulated. So instead of 1, he became 9, and 9 persons had sexual intercourse with Devahuti for many, many years. It is understood that the sexual appetite of a woman is 9 times greater than that of a man. That is clearly indicated here. Otherwise, Kṛṣṇa Muni would have no reason to expand himself into 9. Here is another example of yogic power. Okay, so you see, there was 9 times greater. Just imagine what us men are experiencing, the sexual agitation, women are experiencing 9 times more. And therefore, all these social media have become display of free prostitutes. This is all it is. You go on the YouTube trending tab, right? They have a tab there, trending. You press on that. A lot of it will be like some music video, and you'll see some half-naked women there, right? And this is why they don't mind posing, wearing only lingerie, underwears, and they'll take pictures, and they don't mind that these pictures will be displayed everywhere. Of course, there are men also that are doing these things, but you can see. So the more they degrade, the more they become very much lusty, very much animalistic. So this is why, again. So our Matajis have to be very cautious. They have to understand that these things are there within me, and they're in a seedling form. And if they're manifesting too much, that would be very dangerous. So, but us men, we need to understand that this is the nature of women, and we have to, it's our role to not be attached to them. And non-attachment doesn't mean that we don't care for them, or we don't wish for their welfare, or we don't care for our wives. No. Non-attachment mean not developing the spirit of enjoyer, that this woman is meant for my enjoyment. I will use her for my sexual pleasure. That is the meaning of not being attached, because non-attachment to women means what? Means non-attachment to matter. Because the body of the wife is matter. She's not the body, she's a spirit soul. So attachment to the spirit soul, to her as a devotee, that is nice. To be attached to one's wife as a devotee is good. To be attached to her as a mean to gratify my sexual desires is bad. So we should understand that this is womanly nature, and they might slip away, but we have to not slip away, because they naturally can be degraded, but it's our duty to make sure that they don't. So here, this is concerning the birth of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So Diti's pregnancy in the evening. So Diti's husband, I'm forgetting now. Is it also cut? No. Kashyapa, right? Kashyapa Muni. Is it just not Kṛṣṇa Muni and Kashyapa Muni? Yeah. So, okay. This woman, my wife, has adopted a means that follows her nature, and therefore she is not to be blamed. But I am a man, therefore all condemnation upon me. I am not at all conversant with what is good for me, since I could not control my senses. So for those of you who don't know, Diti approached her husband, Kashyapa Muni, in the evening time for sexual enjoyment. There was no regulations, it was an inauspicious time, there was no purification, nothing. So everything was inauspicious, and what happened is that Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born, the 2 greatest demons. So again, how important it is that this Garbhodana Samskar be properly done. That means that we will be inviting a very, very pious soul within the womb of the wife, A devotee will take shelter within the womb. Whereas, even if we're a devotee, even if we're chanting Hare Krishna, if we have sex only for pleasure and we beget children this way, of course there will be, devotees, but it's according to the purity of our existence, because if we're devotees and all we do actually is just chanting 16 rounds and trying to follow the principles, but we don't do much, we don't do deity worship and whole days sense gratification and all, and the wife falls pregnant, because then we cannot really expect, a very great devotee to take shelter. And sometimes we see it happens that devotees' children slip away. They don't become devotees themselves, So one of the reasons is that the conception was not properly done. So Kashyapa Muni is lamenting, because he's saying this is, it's her nature, as we have seen, 9 times stronger. So of course it's harder for women to control, but he is supposed to be in control, but he did not. He became too attached to the wife that, okay, I will please you. He became subservient to the wife. In other words, the mode of passion led the way, not the mode of goodness. And the whole couple was swayed away by the mode of passion. And children born in the mode of passion are to get demonic qualities, mode of passion and ignorance. So this is why also women have got to always be engaged, and women should get children, because children means constant engagement. So when there's always engagement, always something to do, then this lust has got no time to manifest. She's always thinking, okay, now clean the children, change the thing. Women are so to be a housewife is not easy job at all. I have high respect for housewives. Even though they don't work outside, even though they're just at home, it's a 24-hour job. It's non-stop, When is the last time that a woman has like a quiet meal? Especially those with young children. I see my wife, sometimes I give her, some quieter meal that I will take our daughter, and I'll bring her out while she has her meal. So that at least, but still the son is there, right? So it's almost never, it's very rare that she'll have a meal on her own. Sometimes maybe special, then I'll see, okay, now I don't have much things to do. Maybe I'll bring my son and daughter, and then she can have one meal on her own. Maybe once a month, Except for this, she's feeding like this and doing like that. And it's like having 8 arms, constant service the children. So it's a tough job. Very tough. Whereas us, we are more, since we have different duties, we can have meals on our own, more often. So anyway, so this constant engagement is good for Matajis, because then this propensity to degrade will not manifest. And we see that women that are not married have got a harder difficulty to advance spiritually. Because one, there's no constant engagement with the children. Of course, if a woman is very surrendered and she's under the protection of a temple president, she lives in the temple, in the ashram, and she has got so much engagement given service, that is nice. That is also very good. But again, it's under the protection of a Prabhu, So, whereas women who are independent and who are not guided by a man, or who do not accept the guidance which a nearby Prabhu can offer, and simply do what they want, we see how it degrades. We know personally some Matajis, even though they've been in the movement for 20, 30 years, they will waste so much time every day just looking at the phone, lying down, doing nothing, so ignorant existence, And it degrades to the point of reading some love stories, right? So the lust is coming out. Even though they're devotees and been chanting for decades. So these things we're seeing, It's not that Sastra says things that we cannot observe. Okay, the purport here. The natural instinct of a woman is to enjoy the material world. She induces her husband to enjoy this world by satisfying his tongue, belly, and genitals, which are called jihva udarupasta. Jiva vegam udarupasta vegam. This is one who controls these things, then he's fit to become guru. Jiva udarupasta. So many vegam. A woman is expert in cooking palatable dishes so that she can easily satisfy her husband in eating. When one eats nicely, his belly is satisfied, and as soon as the belly is satisfied, the genitals become strong. So I believe we all have this experience that after a big nice meal, if we go and sleep right away, and let's say we sleep 2 hours, then we feel the genitals become agitated, right? Especially when a man is accustomed to eating meat and drinking wine and similar passionate things, he certainly becomes sexually inclined. It should be understood that sexual inclination are met not for spiritual progress but for gliding down to hell. Thus Kashyapa Muni considered his situation and lamented. In other words, to be a householder is very risky unless one is trained and the wife is a follower of her husband. A husband should be trained at the very beginning of his life. Kaumara Charit Prangya Dharman Bhagavata Prabhupāda Maharaj. During the time of brahmacharya or student life, a brahmachari should be taught to be expert in Bhagavad-Dharma, devotional service. Then when he marries, if his wife is faithful to her husband and follows him in such life, the relationship between husband and wife is very desirable. So 2 things. Husband must be trained up as a good devotee, and wife must be trained up as being very chaste, follower of the husband. Then, nice. If one of those things is lacking, there will be disturbances in marriage life. If the husband was not trained, but the wife is chaste to the husband, still there will be a lack of spiritual progress. Or if the husband is well trained, but the wife isn't chaste, there won't be any also compatible, spiritual advancement at home. However, a relationship between husband and wife without spiritual consciousness but strictly for sense gratification is not at all good. It is said in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so we've seen that. The relationship between husband and wife would be based on sexual power in Kali Yuga. Right? Therefore, the householder life in this Kali Yuga is extremely dangerous unless both the wife and husband take to Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Yes, because save and accept Kṛṣṇa consciousness, especially in the Western world, marriage life means death. It means going to hell. I'm gliding you down, you're gliding me down, because there's nothing else. And only a devotee can show the actual meaning of marriage life. Only a devotee and Prabhupada's disciples can truly show, Prabhupada's, whoever comes after Prabhupada in the lineage, we are all Prabhupada's disciples, so can clearly show how husband and wife can live together in harmony, right? So, okay. So this nature, so Kashyapa Muni was lamenting, my wife has followed her nature, but I was too attached to her. So now we'll see some verses that are a little bit hard to swallow. So dear Matajis, please bear with us. This is Shastra, we have to discuss these things. So now, since we're in the topic of analyzing a woman's nature that is degraded, we have seen Suniti, the other wife of King Uttanapada, Suruchi, right? I believe. So how she was so envious that Dhruva Maharaja, who are you, little boy? You sit on the king's lap? No, he's attached to me. You be born from my womb, then you can sit on the king's lap. Such an envious. We have seen envious means, I'm unhappy to see you happy. The boy wanted to be happy. You become happy, you think, you go away, And then when he cried away, she became proud, very envious. So this nature, this degraded nature can occur in any women. So, now we shall see. So this way that Suruchi spoke, how sharp it was. No, such sharp words, very, very hurtful, super hurtful. So we will see why. Okay, why this happened? Because she became the controller of her husband. Uttanapada was a handpicked husband in her hands. In other words, she lost shelter. She lost guru. Because the guru is supposed to act as guru for the wife. But when one controls guru, there's no question of guru. That's why these cheaters guru, who simply want to get a lot of disciples, they're actually under control of their disciple. So these disciples don't have guru, because this so-called guru is acting how the disciple wants them to act. It's the same thing also for husband and wife. A wife who controls her husband has no husband, because husband is meant to be guiding the wife. So, yes, you do this, you don't do that, you do this, you shouldn't do this. In this way, she has got husband. So husband is the spiritual master of the wife. So now we shall see. This is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 18, Text 41. A woman's face is as attractive and beautiful as a blossoming lotus flower during autumn. Her words are very sweet and they give pleasure to the ear. But if we study a woman's heart, we can understand it is to be extremely sharp, like the blade of a razor. In these circumstances, who could understand the dealings of a woman? Woman is now depicted very well from the materialistic point of view by Kashyapa Muni. Okay, materialistic point of view. This is an important thing. This is the materialistic nature of women. This can be overcome if everything is well done. So again, Kashyapa Muni is lamenting. Women are generally known as the fair sex, and especially in youth, at the age of 16 or 17, women are very attractive to men. Therefore, a woman's face is compared to a blooming lotus flower in autumn. Just see. It is a fact. Any 16-year-old, 17-year-old women, even if they're not very attractive, there's still something attractive to them because they're young, they're fresh. We know that, virgin, it's very attractive for a man. And Prabhupada said, to see women in the spirit of enjoyment means being captured by māyā. But to see women understanding that she's meant for the service of the Lord, that is allowed. But the thing is that who is capable of doing that? And as we have seen, we should not test our mind, So Prabhupada said, if you look at the features of a woman, her face, wow, nice eyes, beautiful, no. Prabhupada said you should understand that māyā has captured you. Okay, just as a lotus is extremely beautiful in autumn, a woman at the threshold of youthful beauty is extremely attractive. In Sanskrit, a woman's voice is called Nari Swara because women generally sing and their singing is very attractive. Yeah. At the present moment, cinema artists, especially female singers, are especially welcome. Right? Some of them earn fabulous amounts of money simply by singing. Therefore, as taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a woman's singing is dangerous because it can make a sannyasi fall a victim to the woman. Just see. And this is even, sometimes they say, why don't you let women lead kirtan and so on. So it's not that it's never done. It is done. It's all right. But it should not be introduced as we have to be careful because it's not my words, it's not my opinion, it's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he was a sannyasi, at one point he was traveling and he was with his servant, I forgot the servant's name, and he heard someone singing some beautiful bhajans, and immediately he became, immersed in his ecstasy of Radharani. And he ran towards the singer, and his servant caught hold of him and said, no, it's a woman singing. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you saved my life, So he was showing by example how strict the sannyasi must be, especially sannyasis. Now, of course, women in our movement, they're singing for Kṛṣṇa and so on. But it's all about the purity of the audience also. You see, if a man, by hearing a woman sing a bhajan, becomes more lustful, then he's not qualified to hear. He should go away, he should not hear. But if a man, by hearing a woman's bhajan, becomes less lusty and more attached to Kṛṣṇa, then that is proper. But the point is that the danger is there. You see, there is a chance that a man who is not properly trained up might become more lusty by hearing Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra from a woman's voice. That is the danger. And therefore we try to restrict women singing bhajan or leading kirtans, just because that chance is there. Whereas a man leading kirtan or leading bhajan, that is the norm, all the men. So this is it, So of course in some of our temple, women will lead sometimes. So it's not that it's a strict rule, but we should be aware of the principle. Okay. Just another example concerning this. There were some brahmacharis that wrote to Srila Prabhupada, the Yamuna Devi Dasi Govindam, right? Diti Darshan Govindam Adi Purusham. So we hear Yamuna Devi Dasi, Yamuna Mataji singing. So the brahmacharis, they wrote to Prabhupada saying that this is disturbing us. So it's a proof, That's what I'm saying. It's a proof that the brahmacharis got disturbed. Of course, then Prabhupada said, if you become disturbed hearing women, then go to the forest, what to do. how to not be in association with women nowadays. It's not possible. He became agitated by hearing Yamuna Devi sing. So the proof is there. Okay. Sannyas means giving up the company of women. But if a sannyasi hears the voice of a woman and sees her beautiful face, he certainly becomes attracted and is sure to fall down. There have been many examples. Yes, concerning this, if you have seen one video of Srila Prabhupada, he was in India, and so he was on a roof terrace, in that place he stayed for, it was a family, a pious Indian family that all became devotee, and they were serving Prabhupada and the devotees that were staying at their house. I think was it the Malik family? Okay. Anyway, Prabhupada said that this is Hare Krishna annex. So this house was like a sort of annex for the devotees to go and stay there. So Prabhupada liked to go on the roof. There's a video of Prabhupada there. And then they arranged for a show, young girls, about 10 years old, who were dancing in front of Prabhupada like that. If you see Prabhupada is not looking at them. When the show is going on, Prabhupada is like looking, he's not looking at the show. So he's showing how a sannyasi should behave. These are young girls, 10-year-old. Why would a sannyasi look at this show? Even though there is, something about Krishna within the presentation. But nowadays we see sannyasis taking girls by the arms and bringing the girl next to their, genitals like this and pressing against them, or having 5, 6, 7, 8 girls, 10-year-old, 12-year-old around them and smiling like this and holding. Actually, I'll say it, Indradumna Swami. Indradumna Swami, he really likes to be with young girls. We see some video of him caressing the hair of one girl for 5, 6 minutes, and we see some women Matajis looking and being, what is he doing? And then touching her, very near, the hand right above the genital like that, and patting like this. So you might say, oh, you think you're speaking against Indradumna Swami, how can you say like that? No, Shastra is clear that a sannyasi should not even let his foot touch a wooden doll. There is such a verse. A sannyasi should not even let his foot touch a wooden doll of a woman. What to speak of hugging them, playing with them and all. This is not correct. This is not proper. So, okay. Even the great sage Vishvamitra fell a victim to Menaka. Therefore, a person desiring to advance in spiritual consciousness must be especially careful not to see a woman's face or hear a woman's voice. To see a woman's face and appreciate its beauty, or to hear a woman's voice and appreciate her singing as very nice, is a subtle fall down for a brahmachari or sannyasi. Just see. Thus, the description of a woman's features by Kashyapa Muni is very instructive. So a temple that has many brahmacharis or even sannyasis, should not let women sing. We should protect our brahmacharis. So if there's a chance that they become agitated. Anyway, this is all according to the temple president. Temple president is to judge according to time and circumstances, where it's not a general rule, but that is there. When a woman's bodily features are attractive, when her face is beautiful, and when her voice is sweet, she is naturally a trap for men. The Shastra advised that when such a woman comes to serve a man, she should be considered to be like a dark well covered by grass. In the fields there are many such wells, and a man who does not know about them drops through the grass and falls down. Thus there are many such instructions. Since the attraction of the material world is based on attraction for women, Kashyapa Muni taught, under the circumstances, who can understand the heart of a woman? Chanaka Pandit has also advised, Vishvaso Naiva Kartavyaha, Strishu Raja Kuleshu Cha. There are two persons one should not trust, a politician and a woman. These, of course, are authoritative Shastric injunctions, and we should therefore be very careful in our dealings with women. Sometimes our Krishna consciousness movement is criticized for mingling men and women, but Krishna consciousness is meant for anyone. Whether one is a man or woman does not matter. Lord Krishna personally says, Striyo Vaishyas Tatras Shudras, Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. Whether one is woman, Shudra or Vaishya, not to speak of being a Brahmana or a Kshatriya, everyone is fit to return home back to Godhead, if he strictly follows the instructions of the spiritual master and Shastra. We therefore request all the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, both men and women, not to be attracted by bodily features, but only be attracted by Krishna. Then everything will be all right. Otherwise, there will be danger. So here we come, again to today's topic. Not to be attracted by bodily features. Of course, today's topic has always been under discussion, but this is directly. Beautiful wife. So we should not be attracted to the bodily features. If we choose a wife or a husband on this basis that she's pretty or what, and overlook other qualities, it is dangerous. Otherwise, there will be danger. So Prabhupada is warning us that we have to be careful when selecting a husband or wife. It should not be for that. So it is dangerous. So too much attachment for wife. And of course, Prabhupada quoted that there's a great Indian poet. I forgot who it was. I'm sorry. He says that every man, every husband has got the right to say that his wife is beautiful. Okay? So, the other side, the other party, someone else will not find my wife beautiful, but that doesn't matter. Every man has got the right to say his wife is beautiful. But to find one's wife very beautiful, to be attracted, is the sign of being too much attached to our wives. Okay. Let me see. So this is just give me. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is Canto 4, Chapter 27, Text 1. All right. Give me a second. The great sage Narada continued, My dear king, after bewildering her husband in different ways and bringing him under her control, the wife of King Puranjana gave him all satisfaction and enjoyed sex life with him. So, the Puranjana story, which is an allegory story narrated by Narada Muni, bringing him under her control, right? That is very dangerous when the wife managed to control the husband. And we see that even in our Krishna consciousness movement, women that are able to control their husband, generally there is great disaster awaiting. The husband is not capable of guiding the wife and they fall away from Krishna consciousness, or they become envious. Husband becomes envious because we've seen a wife who's controlling her husband has got no husband, and she degrades, and that means the husband will degrade. And we have seen the character of Suniti, and we have seen the verse spoken by Kashyapa Muni. Therefore, that means a man controlled by his wife will become envious. This is 1 + 1 = 2. Now, after hunting, let me share. After hunting in the forest, King Puranjana returned home, and after refreshing himself by taking a bath and eating nice food, he searched for his wife. When he saw her lying down on the ground without a bed, as if neglected and devoid of any proper dress, he became very much aggrieved. He then became attracted to her and began to enjoy her company. A living entity is similarly engaged in the material world in sinful activities. These sinful activities may be compared to King Puranjana's hunting in the forest. Okay, let me see. Okay, by coming home, taking his bath, eating nice foodstuff, getting refreshed, and searching out his wife, King Puranjana came to his good consciousness in his family life. In other words, A systematic family life, as enjoined in the Vedas, is better than an irresponsible, sinful life. Okay, this is important because King Puranjana, which is an allegory story, he was hunting. So hunting is sinful, so it's compared to sinful activities. So to be nicely married and follow the enjoined Vedic principle of family life is better than irresponsible life. So again, comes back to Prabhupada saying, why don't you get your son married? Why don't you get your daughter married? Because a boy who's not married means he's going to have illicit sex, right? He's going to disturb society. At least if he's married, then, it's better. So, if a husband and wife combine together in Krishna consciousness and live together peacefully, that is very nice. Yes, it's a fact. So we are speaking so much, okay, women nature, this, that, but no. There are two types of women. Women that are harmful and women that are very much helpful for spiritual advancement. However, if a husband becomes too much attracted by his wife and forgets his duty in life, the implication of materialistic life will again resume. Again resume means even for a devotee. Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore recommended anasaktasya vishayan. Without being attached by sex, the husband and wife may live together for the advancement of spiritual life. The husband should engage in devotional service, and the wife should be faithful and religious according to the Vedic injunctions. Such a combination is very good. However, if the husband becomes too much attracted to the wife due to sex, the position becomes very dangerous. Women in general are very much sexually inclined. Indeed, is controlled by satisfying her, giving her ornaments, nice food and clothes, and engaging her in religious activities. Yes, so to keep her engaged, That's why deity worship offer on time, so it regulates the whole household. Of course, a woman should have a few children and in this way not be disturbing to the man. Unfortunately, if the man becomes attracted to the woman simply for sex enjoyment, then family life becomes abominable. So women are very much active. Actually, they have got more energy than men. Manu Samhita says like that. They have got more energy than men. That's why they can handle the whole household work. And if they don't have children to pour that energy into, then it is said here they become a source of disturbance to men. The great politician Chanaka Pandit has said, Bharya Rupavati Shatruhu. A beautiful wife is an enemy. There we go. So today's topic, right? So if a wife is too beautiful, she will become like an enemy. First of all, she might be attractive to other low-class men. Then, if she's unchaste, she might leave the husband. And since she's beautiful, she will attract many men and she will get remarried again. So in this way, she becomes an enemy to the husband, to the children. Of course, every woman in the eyes of her husband is very beautiful. Others may see her as not very beautiful, but the husband, being very much attracted to her, sees her always as very beautiful. If the husband sees the wife as very beautiful, it is to be assumed that he is too much attracted to her. So that is the test. If we are seeing our wives, oh, she's so beautiful today, and so on, too much attracted to her. This attraction is the attraction of sex. The whole world is captivated by the two modes of material nature, Rajaguna and Tamaguna, passion and ignorance. Generally, women are very much passionate and are less intelligent, therefore somehow or other a man should not be under the control of their passion and ignorance. By performing bhakti yoga, devotional service, a man can be raised to the platform of goodness. If a husband situated in the mode of goodness can control his wife who is in the mode of passion and ignorance, the woman is benefited. Forgetting her natural inclination for passion and ignorance, the woman becomes obedient and faithful to her husband, who is situated in goodness. This is why Prabhupada is always stressing the fact that all girls should be married, so that they have a chance to rise to the mode of goodness by the strength of their husband's sadhana. Such a life becomes very welcome. The intelligence of a man and woman may then work very nicely together, and they can make a progressive march towards spiritual realization. Otherwise, the husband, coming under the control of the wife, sacrifices his quality of goodness and becomes subservient to the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this way, the whole situation becomes polluted. Again, we have seen this practically. Oh, I was not sharing the screen, sorry. We have seen this practically happen in our Krishna consciousness movement. Some men that were doing nicely, but somehow or other they could not control their wives. They were overpowered, strong character women and weak husband. So they were overpowered, and in this way they were driven away. Of course, sometimes it happens that wives are more serious in Krishna consciousness than the husband, But it doesn't mean that the wife should not take guidance from other devotees. She should take guidance from other Prabhus, also. Of course, that is not Vedic. Vedic system means Guru instructs husband and husband instructs the wife. Generally, the wife does not go directly to Guru to hear Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru. She should hear from the husband. That is the Vedic system. But Kali Yoga, sometimes this is not always possible. So women go directly to a Shiksha Guru. So what to do? That is better than simply not taking guidance. The conclusion is that the household life is better than a sinful life devoid of responsibility. But if in the household life the husband becomes subordinate to the wife, involvement in materialistic life again becomes prominent. In this way, a man's material bondage becomes enhanced. Because of this, according to the Vedic system, after a certain age, a man is recommended to abandon his family life for the stages of vanaprastha and sannyas. Right. So we've analyzed how a woman's nature can degrade. We are understanding how she can be raised if she follows the instructions of a husband. And we see how also we have to be very careful not to intermingle very freely men and women together, even though we're devotees. So this is important to discuss all these things. Now, let's see. Okay, I think this is we've already talked about that. I'm just looking where we can go now. Yes, so this is a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote to one of his disciples. So just now we were speaking husband as guru, right? So that is there here. Prabhupada speaks about this. Condition. Vice versa, Kṛṣṇa. 60 around. Okay. Yeah. Another item is you are a married wife. So in that position, you should serve your husband nicely, always being attentive to his needs. And in this way, because he is always absorbed in serving Kṛṣṇa, by serving your husband, you will also get Kṛṣṇa through him. He is your spiritual master, but he must be responsible for giving you all spiritual help, teaching you as he advances his own knowledge and realization. So that's important. So two nice instructions both for wife and husband. So the wife should advance in Krishna consciousness by the instructions of the husband. And the husband should not be callous as to not try to help the wife advance spiritually. When he sees that the mood is nice, now is a good time to give instructions. He should give instructions without becoming angry to the wife, and this is how we do, this is why. In this way, philosophical discussion between husband and wife become very much likened. But the wife should not try to show off her so-called realization. Of course, she has got some realization too, but if she's trying to show off the realization, then that's not realization at all. She should be listening, because the understanding of a man in spiritual life will be higher than that of a woman. We see that in Lord Shiva and Parvati, that distinction was there. Even such an exalted woman as Parvati, she could not understand properly this was in the King Chitraketu, right? she cursed King Chitraketu. So King Chitraketu was coming by, and he saw Lord Shiva speaking, giving class, to his disciples, and his wife was on his lap. So King Chitraketu laughed, he said, you're having your wife there, you're attached to your wife, and so on. So Parvati became very much aggrieved, and she very much angrily cursed King Chitraketu, you're going to become a demon. And he became Vritasura. What is the name? Vritasura. Yeah, Vritasura. So, and then Lord Shiva instructed her, he said, those great devotees, they're not at all affected by any material reverse in life. He's going to continue his spiritual life no matter where he is, in which type of body. And in those purports, Srila Prabhupada says that the distinction of realization between husband and wife exists everywhere, even in such a high family as Lord Shiva and his wife. So, because why all this is there? We're discussing all this, women must be subservient and this and that, but why these principles are there? What is the practical application of all this? What is it? And this is it, that the husband has got higher realization than the wife. He's more spiritually advanced. And because of that, he can guide the wife properly. And also we have seen the natures, right? How the natures work. So in this way, husband should be pure devotee, meaning engage in devotional service with the only desire to satisfy Srila Prabhupada and Kṛṣṇa. In this way, try to work his way towards pure devotional service, and the wife should be a good follower of the husband. That is the Vedic system. The wife becomes a devotee of her husband. The husband becomes a devotee of Kṛṣṇa. The wife serves her husband faithfully. The husband protects his wife by giving her spiritual guidance. So you should simply do whatever your husband instructs you to do. However, he may require your assistance. Of course, the nature of a woman is to be attached to her husband and family. So our system is to minimize this attachment by making the ultimate goal of our activity the pleasure of Kṛṣṇa. Just try to please Kṛṣṇa always, and no material circumstances would be able to cause you any discomfort. Yeah. So Prabhupada instructing his disciple, female disciple, So concerning what I mentioned about instruction were especially meant for men, and women were to follow. Actually, this is the Vedic system, and Prabhupada spoke about that in a class. So this is during a class. Especially instruction are given to men. All literatures, all Vedic literatures, they are especially meant for instruction to the men. Woman is to follow the husband, that's all. The husband will give instruction to the wife. There's no such thing as the girl should go to school to take brahmacharini ashram, or go to the spiritual master to take instructions. Of course, now, don't take this as an excuse not to read Prabhupada books. This is not what it means here. Prabhupada books are there, but the nice system, the Vedic system, which cannot 100% be followed, but at least we should understand the ideal, is that instructions are given to the man, and the woman takes instructions from her husband. Not that she should jump over the husband and go ask directly another Prabhu, Prabhu, why is this, why is that? She should approach the husband. But, in Kali Yuga, everything is topsy-turvy. Sometimes it happens that the wife is a devotee, the husband is not. So, So the husband will give instructions. Okay, so there's no such thing as brahmacharini. This is because in the beginning, this word was used a lot, brahmacharini, in the 1966, 67, 68. And Prabhupada was going along with it because he did not want to break down too fast this feminist nature, because if Prabhupada would have broken too fast their feminist nature, they would have gone away. So he went along with the word brahmacharini. But here you see, this is 1972, so he's speaking. Or go to spiritual master to take instruction. So he's saying not go to the spiritual master directly. That is not Vedic system. Vedic system is a man is fully instructed, and woman, girl must be married to a man. Yeah. Even the man may have many wives, polygamy, still every woman should be married. So Prabhupada has forbidden polygamy in our society. And she would get instruction from the husband. This is Vedic system. Woman is not allowed to go to school, college, or to the spiritual master. But husband and wife, they can be initiated. That is Vedic system. So of course, when we say that, normally our Matajis don't really like to hear that they don't have to go to school or college, and so these are principles that are not that important to become Krishna conscious. You see, when I normally read such passage, I lose viewers. Just now we were at 40. I finished reading that, we're at 33. Okay, now we're coming up 37. So it's gonna happen, some people don't like to hear these things, that women are not meant to go to school and all. Because this whole idea, Western civilization, we've discussed that in the previous versions, is previous sessions. It's all based on me, ego, making money, enjoying, right? So why can I not be equal to men in this matter? Yeah, you can, you can go and earn your money. We see it's happening, but is it good? That's the thing. Western culture thinks that if it can be done, it should be done. Because I can, I must. That's all. There's no other logic than that, just like now Elon Musk, he's trying to go to Mars planet, right? Because I can build a big spaceship and try to go to Mars, I must try. This is their logic. And their only gain is their labor, labor of love of labor, whatever. So similarly, women should not just want to do something simply for the sake of it. I can be independent, let me be independent. No, Krishna says we have got duties, it's better to perform one's duty imperfectly than another's duty perfectly. Destruction in the course of one's own occupation is better than acceptance of another's occupation. So for a woman to act as a woman is better than if she tries to act as a man. Okay, I think, okay, yes, we've touched a lot. Okay, yeah, so now let's touch about how women can help advance spiritually, because we've spoken a lot about, how women nature can degrade and all of this, and I'm sorry that we have to go through all these verses, and I'm very much respectful for all the Matajis that are capable of staying throughout the whole class. This is a nice sign of your spiritual advancement, that you're capable of going through all these hard verses and purports. Now we shall see actually what is actually a real wife. So 9.655 Bhagavatam. O Maharaj Parikshit, by observing their husband progressing in spiritual existence, Saubhari Muni's wives were also able to enter the spiritual world by his spiritual power, just as the flames of a fire cease when the fire is extinguished. So you see, by the strength of their husband, they entered the spiritual world. But they had contribution in that also. It's not just that the husband does everything and the wife doesn't, no. Stated in Bhavavad-gīta, Striyo Vaishyas tata Sudras tepi anti param gatim. Women are not considered very powerful in following spiritual principles. But if a woman is fortunate enough to get a suitable husband who is spiritually advanced, and if she always engages in her service, she also gets the same benefit as her husband. Am I sharing? Yeah, okay. Here it is clearly said that the wives of Saubhari Muni also entered the spiritual world by the influence of their husband. They were unfit, but because they were faithful followers of their husband, they also entered the spiritual world with him. Thus, a woman should be a faithful servant of her husband, and if the husband is spiritually advanced, the woman will automatically get the opportunity to enter the spiritual world. Okay, so actually this is not the verse I wanted to show, but we can understand again that by the strength of the husband, the wife can enter the spiritual world also. Yes, this is the verse I was looking for. So this is Canto 3, chapter 14, text 17. O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation. So who is talking? 3:14. I don't think it's Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj starts before. Maybe it's Prithu. Oh, okay, anyway, I've forgotten. The three perfections of liberation are religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. For a conditioned soul, the wife is considered to be the source of liberation because she offers her service to the husband for his ultimate liberation. Conditional material existence is based on sense gratification, and if someone has the good fortune to get a good wife, he is helped by the wife in all respects. Yes. Okay, this is a very important point, you see. So to get a good wife is a sign of good fortune because she will be a great helper. So similarly, to get a nice, good wife, devotee wife, is very, very much helpful. And for most of us devotees, male, we require a wife. We cannot make it without. Why? Here it is. If one is disturbed in his conditional life, he becomes more and more entangled in material contamination. This is very important. If we feel disturbance in our material needs, we will become degraded. And therefore, marriage under regulations is needed so that we don't become disturbed by from our needs, A faithful wife is supposed to cooperate with her husband in fulfilling all material desires, so that he can then become comfortable and execute spiritual activities for the perfection of life. Yes. So the wife is very expert handling the whole house, cleaning the kitchen, cooking nicely, taking care of so it's a comfortable place. When I come back home, not come back home. When I'm at home and I see the whole house is nice and I'm very happy, I'm peaceful, I'm not disturbed, then I can focus on trying to do some preaching and so on. So this is a great credit that goes to my wife, that she's handling the house so nicely. Children are taken care of, house is taken care of, nice offerings are prepared. So she's a great help, great help. If, however, the husband is progressive in spiritual advancement, the wife undoubtedly shares in his activities. You see, even though she might not be directly engaged in preaching or devotional activities, she will share the result. And thus both the wife and the husband profit in spiritual perfection. It is essential, therefore, that girls as well as boys be trained to discharge the spiritual duties, so that at the time of cooperation both will be benefited. The training of the boy is brahmacharya, and the training of the girl is chastity. A faithful wife and spiritually trained brahmachari are a good combination for advance of the human's mission. So brahmacharya means he is accustomed already to not indulge in sexual pleasures, so-called pleasures. So he's already accustomed, so that means he will not be too attached to his wife. Not too attached to wife means he doesn't indulge in sex. And a faithful wife and spiritually trained brahmachari. Yeah. So you see, so that's it. So this sex life in Grihastha Ashram, actually, when I shared this class link, I mentioned that, the verse where Krishna says, I am sex life, which is not contrary. And I thought of touching this topic also about sex life in Grihastha Ashram, but somehow I don't think we have much time for that. But, we've touched it a little bit indirectly. So, yes, this sex should not be used for anything else but procreation. But it's not going to be easily done if we didn't get trained before. So you see, the brahmachari training is there, then we come in Grihastha Ashram strongly and we're fixed up. And the girl, she's chaste and all obedient, then very strong. But most of us don't come from such a background because, we're first, second generation. Maybe in the future, once we establish these things. That's why I said, I did this class about marrying early our girls, so that they have a chance to come from such a strong background. If the girl gets married in a very early age, let's say 8, 9 years old, and then that's her husband. Of course, she doesn't understand all these things, what is husband, what is wife, but she's learning slowly, and then she becomes attached to him. So when lust develops, then only this one man she's thinking. Now, not that at 8-year-old she leave the house and go live with the husband's family. No, she remains. But you want to call a boy, call your husband. You want to write a letter to a boy, write a letter to your husband. You want to, go see a boy, go see your husband. So in this way, it's only with one man. And then the husband, he's trained as brahmachari, he's trained up in the temple. And then when he comes out of that, he's fixed up, he knows Sastra, he's well trained and so on. He knows how to do deity worship, how to preach, and then the girl is there, and she's still a child, right? So she sees husband as also a fatherly figure, so she will never dare to challenge or anything, or to try to think to be equal. So the whole thing is very not functional families. We come from many different backgrounds, so we didn't have this chance. So, but that doesn't mean we should not give this chance to our future generations, our children. Oh, because I was grown up in this way, I went to the Karmi school and I got my career, so my daughter also can do the same thing. No, why? It's not according to Shastra, So yes, so that's it. And in this way, then sex life can be avoided practically completely, because they are both trained up. But for us who come from different backgrounds, it's going to be a gradual progress. There was once a letter from one of Prabhupada's disciples, female. She wrote to Prabhupada saying, we sleep separately. I don't live with my husband anymore. He sleeps somewhere and I sleep somewhere else. So Prabhupada said, no, why you're sleeping separately? Separately means completely different houses, So no, why is this happening? He said, you should not do artificial separation like that. He said that will come in due course of time. So meaning, yes, it's possible sometimes that the husband and wife indulge, in sex. That is not for procreation, but real renunciation will come from devotional service. You cannot renounce artificially. It's not possible. Prabhupada said to understand that sex life is abominable by knowledge, it'll take 10,000 years, because we have these verses, right? Yes, women, it's only stool, urine, the body inside, we're like, oh yeah, body is filled with stool, is disgusting and all. And then a woman is walking in front of us and we turn our neck, break our neck. So why? That means knowledge alone is not working. You cannot realize these things simply by cultivating jnana, So this jnana yoga is, forget it. You cannot do that. But bhakti yoga, jnana vairagya will come automatically. So the more we indulge in devotional service, the more we always try to do something for Krishna, pleasing the Lord, doing this for Krishna, 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 always, always. Then there's a chance for lust to vanish from the heart. Not otherwise. It's not possible. And the best way to always be engaged in service is to preach. That is the best way to engage one's intelligence. When we become trying to preach and to push this movement forward, always thinking on what to do next, then we become very much absorbed. And in that consciousness, it's possible to give up sex life in married life. If we don't have such engagement, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. All right. Okay, this is from a class also. Wives as energy, Prabhupada says. That our wives are just like energy for us. Yeah, okay. So this is a classes Prakriti. Okay, so he is Purusha. Prakriti means female. So they are also energy. According to the Karmis, when the boy is developed, immediately the parents get him wife for him. Otherwise, he will be dull. He cannot work. Energy, Shakti. If one has got good wife, then he gets energy to work. Therefore, Prakriti, she's called Prakriti, energy. Similarly, this is a fact. Krishna has got also energy, the original Purusha, Radharani, energy. Krishna is gladdened in the presence of Radharani, that is nature. Similarly, a man, he becomes energized if he has got a good wife or a good mother. This is the history of the whole world. Any great man in this world, you will find that behind him he has got a good wife or a good mother. Prakriti, energy. That energizes. In our country, how we have seen many persons, just like Sadguru Das Banerjee. They had very good mothers, and they became very great men. Similarly, we saw one Englishman, Lord Wellington. He had a very intelligent wife, and he became a great man. So this Prakriti is energy. by the energy of one woman, one becomes very great. That is the material arrangement. Not only material, in the spiritual world also the same thing. Just like Krishna is energized by the presence of Radharani. So, okay, so you get you get the point. So the wife is there also to act as energy to give, to help the husband, you know. So this is it. I think we've, of course, there are many more verses, but I think we've wrapped our head around mainly most of it. So now we shall go to the question section. Now I'm opening the tab. I'll start from the beginnings. Let's see if there's any questions. So Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna to all of you. Thank you very much. Madan Gopal Das is saying, super important topic, Prabhu. I often preach this to students in Denmark. When I do, they get shocked that we Hare Krishna speak the truth. Right on. Yeah, so Prabhupada's style was like this, you know. He was not going to be speaking very soft words when they approached him with such topics. Of course, Prabhupada would not bring the topic on the table in the beginning, because as preachers, we don't want to be bringing like controversy right away, right? Our whole point is to get people to listen to the philosophy. But when they brought that, oh, women in the Krishna consciousness movement, you know, how come they're inferior? And Prabhupada laid it down flat. Yeah, you know, it's the nature, it's like that. So we have to carry out that bold spirit of Srila Prabhupada. We have to speak as it is, not become like a, what is his name? Gopal, right? A rascal of the highest order. And getting on stage, making jokes. What is an Indian? An Indian is someone who, he buys a new shirt, he wears for some time. And then he uses the shirt to sleep. And then after that, he uses the shirt to go holy, play in the holy with the colors, you know. And after that, he'll use the shirt to wash up the floor. That is an Indian, blah, blah, blah. He's on stage like making a clown of himself, you know, for us devotee. And he's got so many followers. Why? Because he's not a devotee, you know. He's a comedian. He's a motivational speaker. People like, so people go to him to gratify their senses. You know, reward yourself. You work hard. Reward yourself. Only the things that everybody wants to listen to. People are already mad after sense gratification, and they want to hear something that's going to feel them good about their perverted nature. And he is that. So he's a das. You know, he's serving their sense gratification. He's not guru. He's wearing this brahmachari dress, but he's a rascal number one. He's making a great disgrace for the Vaishnava Sampradaya, you know. To have him, ISKCON GBC should kick him out completely. ISKCON GBC should make a legal statement that he is not part of ISKCON. He's doing his own thing. But nowadays, even GBC is fallen. What to do? You know, anything goes. But yes, we have to discuss these things. Okay, here, Shrikant, how do one join ISKCON from India? How can we associate with ISKCON devotees in India? Yes, so we have got this group on Telegram. This group is for Prabhujis only, so only for boys, or you know, Prabhus. So I'm sharing it now. I'm posting to all. So this is Telegram group, okay, Shrikant. So you can join our Telegram group. So for all of the Prabhujis here who would like to join that group, you can join. So I've posted the comment now. You go see. Oh, okay. I see that everybody has posted already. Okay. All right. So that's it. You join that group, Telegram group, and we can start associating with one another, you know. For Matajis, I'll put my phone number here. You can add me directly, and from me, I will forward you to another Mataji, because we don't have this group open here. So this is my phone number. You can add any Matajis who want to join the Matajis group. You can add my phone number. This is for WhatsApp and Telegram. You just tell me that, okay, I attended your lecture and I'd like to join Mataji's group, and I'll be forwarding you to what happened? Okay, when I paste something, okay, when I make a comment, it writes it as as three, as International Shri Krishna Mandir, ISKM TV, and Nimai Nitaidas. Okay, so that's why I was confused that somebody else put the link. So anyway, times 3. When we repeat something 3 times, it means, it's very important. So here you are. You can join our groups 3 times. I don't know if you're seeing this. The way I'm seeing it is I type a comment and I see International Shri Krishna Mandir Facebook, and then ISKM TV, YouTube, and then Nimai Nitaidas, YouTube, and then ISKM TV, anyway, 3 comments at a time. Okay, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, okay, yeah, so ISKM TV, some devotee has already put the ISKM Vaishnava Sangha group. Add caption, Prabhuji, add captions, translate, yeah. When there's a technology that is good enough, it should be coming, right? Instant translation. But the problem is that there's so many technical words. We have got Sanskrit words also, and Prabhupada's way of saying things sometimes in the purports, very hard to be translated live like this. But who knows, maybe one day. Now they do these video generated, just like they have like a mid-journey. You type something and then the AI will create an image, like Hanuman carrying the mountain, and then artificial intelligence, the computer, will actually create an image of Hanuman. Now the next level is movies. I've seen today, like Google is working on this already, and I've seen some real footage that you type something and actually it's creating a movie of that. So I mean, this technology is advancing so much, which is bad in some way, because it means it's entangling people more and more. But as devotees, we have to be quick, on how to use this in the service of the Lord. Okay. I hope this is the devotee that I think it is. If it is, I am so pleased that you are back. If this is you, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and thank you so much for attending this session. Okay. Okay, what is the difference between ISKM and ISKCON? Can anybody share this? We have made, actually. Maybe I can go real quick. So we did one session on that. Let me share it here. Share, how to share this? Comment. What is this? Sorry, huh? Okay, so here this is a session that we made, a distinction between ISKM and ISKCON. So you can go watch this and you will understand. Jayan Jill, I agree. There are now several cases of women killing her husband with the help of her paramour. Even there are cases where they have killed their own child. Yes, it's a fact. This is why we have to address these issues. We should not think that no need to discuss. No, it's very important. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, yes, so you're all helping me here, Vishwamitra. Saubhari Muni, yes, Saubhari Muni was the Muni who meditated in the water. Markat Vairagya, renunciation of the monkey, right? Rajikishore Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, by the way. Haribol, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, Markat Vairagya, so the monkey, renunciation of the monkey. He's naked, no possessions, but, 10 wives. Saurav Sahu. Then it is true the whole so-called education system has no meaning, because easily boys and girls mingling with each other from young age. This will make impossible a man will become able to... Yes. So therefore modern education means actually sending our children to hell, because from a very young age they are accustomed to... What is it that they learn at school? Sense gratification only. Why they learn mathematics? So that they can use this skill in earning some money, so that they can gratify their senses, why they learn to read. Same thing, everything is centered for sense gratification. Their teachers are addicted to sense gratification, right? And from the very beginning, they're girls and boys together. Prabhupada said from the age of 12 especially, they should be separated, because they were asking that, in our Gurukula, should boys and girls be separated when they're very young? So Prabhupada said no, not when they're young. They have no understanding of what sex is, but 12 years old especially, they should be separated. But actually, real Vedic system means from the very beginning, and there's no education for girls in the real Vedic system. They learn things at home. It's not that they're dull and they don't know how to do anything, but the point is that there's no formal school where they go and get the education. They can learn things. Last session we shown Draupadi Devi, how qualified she was, that she was managing, hundreds of thousands of servants, the expenditures of the Pandavas. So, accountability, she must have been a great mathematician, otherwise how could she know? She said she was the only one who knew the wealth of the Pandavas. Even the Pandavas themselves did not know how much they had, but she knew. She's the only one that knew. So unless she was really expert in mathematical calculation, how could she follow up all of this? I mean, she was following. She probably had some servants who would help and all, but so it's not that women are not capable of doing great things. They can, no doubt, but there's no need for this formal education and all. Nowadays, of course, they will say, but there's a need, because if she doesn't go, she will not get a degree, and without a degree, she will not get a job, and without a job, she will not get money. And yes, but Prabhupada did not like very much this, because he actually, very much condemned this degree university system, which means creating Shudras. Puffed up Shudras even worse. Not just Shudras, but puffed up Shudra. You're a worker, you need to go beg someone for some salary. Please be my master, give me some money. But you're very proud. Oh, I went to Harvard. I went to this, I went to that, But you're a Shudra. You're not self-sufficient. So modern day education is all garbage. So Hare Krishna, all of you. Thank you very much for joining, all these nice comments. So you are using a devotee Mataji picture as thumbnail. Is this appropriate, Prabhu? Yeah, so the thumbnail I found was very provocative. Actually, it comes from a wedding. I believe it's a pious Hindu wedding. They put their images online. I've used one of their wedding picture, I guess, of course, without their authorization. I don't know if they'll ever find out, but they get credit because it's been engaged in the Lord's service. Anything that we engage in the Lord's service is purified. This arti tray, right? We have got incense. We offer incense, ghee whip, conch shell with water. All different species are engaged in the Lord's service. Incense comes from fragrance, flowers, right? It comes from the earth. Then you offer the ghee lamp. The ghee comes from cotton. Cottons are like, it represent the plant species, and the metal comes from the mines. It represents the mountain. Then the water, the conch shell, right? It's an animal from the seawater. It represents the animal of the sea. You're offering the water. Then the cloth. Cloth is made out of cotton and so, or silk. The worms, silkworms, and so on. Flower tree. So in this way, you're using different paraphernalia from so many different species of life in the service of the Lord, so that these species will become liberated from their lower grades of life. They can become human beings, So in the same way, anything we use in the service of the Lord will be purified. So this Mataji that you've seen as a thumbnail, she herself put those pictures online available, right? So obviously she has no objections that people will look at those pictures. But now it has been used in the Lord's service, so she is benefited, there's no doubt. And I just thought it was very well, I was looking, I typed like Hindu marriage, and I saw that this is, she was hiding half of her face, and I thought this is perfect, because this is the whole topic tonight, that our wives can be deceptive in the sense that they can act as the agent of Maya, or that they can also be, serving, helping us advance spiritually. And she's very beautiful also, right? You've seen that picture. So that is also the topic, that our wives, if they're too beautiful, it can be dangerous, because we become too. So I don't think it is. I think it is very appropriate. Yeah. So according to Srila Prabhupada, Mataji's not lead kirtan. No, that's not what I said. Srila Prabhupada did allow some of his Matajis to sing kirtan. In fact, when he went in 1970, he came to India, he let some of his girls lead kirtan, lead bhajans, in India in front of 100,000. So what I'm meaning is that there is a chance that some of the weaker members become agitated by that. So that should still be taken into account. So as I said, it should be left in the judgment of the temple president, Temple president should judge whether or not to allow. Yes, so Indradyumna Swami, yes, who is very much attached to, agitated with young girls. So Jyoti Negi, I think we've answered this already, so it's not an offense. We're not saying that the Mataji was unchaste or anything, So here Dimitri is sharing something, Antya 2118, so strongly do the sense adhere to the object of their enjoyment that indeed a wooden statue of a woman attracts the mind of even a great saintly person. Yeah. So what to speak of touching young girls, right? As if he's completely liberated, he can hug, and even a liberated person will not act like this, There's no reason for a liberated person to give so many hugs to young girls. Actually, many people are starting to see that he has got some pedophile tendencies, Indradyumna Swami. Ajikishore Prabhu, one disciple of Indradyumna Swami who visited our temple one time was defending him by saying that no one in Russia is offended by his treating the young girls that way, as that is their culture. Yes, but the spiritual master has to bring the culture from Vaikuntha to where he goes, not to be subjugated to a lower grade culture. Culture of Russia, the whole world works under three modes of material nature. So we're not talking about Russia or this or that. We're talking about goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, whether this country or that country is characterized in one of those modes, that is everybody's business to study properly and see. It's not that we're saying Russians are like this, Chinese are like that, Sometimes less advanced devotee, they will think that we are racist or something, saying that, oh, this type of food is not good. Oh, what, you're against Chinese or you're against it? No, it's because this type of food is in the mode of ignorance. Whether it's in that country or this country, it has to be exposed as being ignorant. So similarly, this kind of culture, so-called culture, is the culture of the mlechas. It is in the mode of ignorance. To hug young girls that are not even your daughter is degraded. We have seen you should not even sit next to your own daughter, what to speak of hugging and pressing your genitals against someone else's daughter. No, he's a lusty fella, he's a cheater, he should be exposed. He's not even fit to be a disciple, what to speak of being a guru. You're saying I'm committing offenses, then let's see if I fall down. If I commit an offense at a great soul, then I won't be giving this class next week. But you'll see me here because I'm speaking the truth. And these people, they go on making their monkey business show as if they're self-realized souls, but they haven't conquered their senses. So we have seen, right? Vajo vegam, udarupasta vegam, jihva vegam. So I'm forgetting. Etan vegan yuvashate vadvija sarvam apimam pritivim sashishyat. So anyway, so one who has conquered over all these vegam, he's fit to be guru. But he has obviously not. Otherwise, why are you going to touch these girls? What is the need? So people who want to be cheated will be cheated. What can you do? What can you talk? What sense can you talk in such people? He was saying that they see him as the children's grandfather, and it is very normal for grandparents to play with the children like that. Yeah, normal for third-class culture, not for Vedic culture. He has a lot of disciples in both Russia and Poland. Of course, okay, I don't want to be, grandfather playing with the children, that's nice. But grandfather playing with a 12-year-old girl, we should start to have some questions, right? I know personally of a uncle who got drunk, and then he asked his niece to basically have sex with him, right? Personal, I know these people back in Canada. So no man, Shastra says you become agitated. Don't think you're above Shastra. 3-year-old girl, okay, 2-year-old, they're like babies. There's nothing there. The body is just like a boy's body. It's not the same thing. But once they reach 5, 6, 7, 8, then you have to stay away. You cannot treat the same. You should follow Prabhupada. You think you're higher than Prabhupada? Prabhupada is having those girls dance in front of him. He's not even looking at them. And you are going to go there and embrace them and surround your face, with... let us share, because this guy... He's a rascal. I'm sorry to say. He's a rascal. No disciple of his is going to advance spiritually. I'm sorry about this. You cannot, What is this? Huh? Are you seeing? Let me see. Yeah, so what is this? This cute young 12, 13-year-old girl, you're going to grab her both wrists and press your genitals against her really, really close. Is that a sannyasi? What is the purpose of this? What is the need of that? Prabhupada reciprocated with girls, but not like that. Like he would maybe give them a cookie or something, or, but not like this. This did not happen. We must follow the way of dealings, Not even touching with with the foot, a wooden doll. And what are you doing here? Many of these fellows, Of course, I don't have other pictures of him here, but there are many where he's surrounded. Even if you type, even on the net, you will see it's there. He's always holding some girls on his lap and this and that on the beach with his camera. What you doing, bringing your camera on the beach? Well, that's what happened, you see. All of this was uploaded by him. So he was on the beach. I don't know if you're seeing. He was carrying his camera, right? You see he's got his camera here? You cannot really see. So he had his camera here, you see. What are you doing with your camera? What you're looking at? Here, he's got a big grin on his face. So many girls around him. So this is another one. Here again, holding. He's always, and this is what actually Indraduma Swami's photos. That's what he took picture. He uploaded himself these pictures online, and then some other devotee quickly told him that you delete that, and then he deleted. These are the pictures that he uploaded. You see him walking around with his camera like this? He took the picture. You think this is a nice picture to take? Look at all this. All the pictures that he took. You want this kind of guru? So, sorry, we are right. Everybody else is wrong. You're thinking that these people are gurus? No, we don't care that, 1 billion people say that he's good. No, we know he's wrong. There's no doubt. We're 100% right. Everybody else is wrong. We don't care. Now, Hare Krishna, I have a question. Is it not better for Matajis to make their minds busy with knowledge, both Shastra and material knowledge, so they don't get distracted and fall? It seems counterintuitive. Yeah, so as we have said, Shastra was especially meant to be understood by men, and then the husband will instruct the Matajis in this because unless Matajis have got proper engagements, the senses will drag them away. We have seen, they will degrade in their own nature. So studying the Shastra and material knowledge and all of this to keep engaged, this is not the way that Shastra doesn't say that this is good for women to study Shastras and so on. Now, of course, they should read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada wrote all these books not just for men, but for the Matajis too. So they should hear and all. But because they have got difficulty sometimes to realize what Prabhupada is saying, they need guidance from a man. So this engagement means that they are engaged in their occupational duty, and by the strength of their devotee husband, they will make nice progress. Now, if they're not married, or if husband is not a devotee and so on, then they should try to keep always engaged in some service and take guidance from another devotee, temple president or preacher in this way. Devotee, and incredibly offensive to have position in this way. Please be more mindful. So again, I don't think it is very offensive. This Mataji is not a devotee. She's a Hindu lady who's getting married, and it is a fact, that pretty wives, if they're not properly engaged in the service of a first-class husband, will be a great disturbance for the family and society. So we're just speaking the truth. Now again, as I said, we have used her beauty in the service of the Lord. So what is the wrong there? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If male sings, isn't it the same, Prabhu, for women also to get disturbed then? Then who sings? Robot? Someone must sing, right? So the system has always been that men sing. You must choose whether men or women. So one of them. So according to Shastra and so on, men are generally the one that are leaders, right? So this is the way that it has to be. No, again, I didn't say that it's forbidden for women to lead, but there are verses like that in Shastra that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, if women singing, I should not go there, and so on and so on. So disturbance, it's all about one's weakness. Disturbance can come anywhere. It's like Salbari Muni, he got disturbed seeing two fish, So of course, yeah, it can happen. Maybe some women can get disturbed. If a woman is attached, he's a nice, handsome, young brahmachari, I love him, I'm attached to him, and when he sings, she might be thinking about being with him instead of thinking about Krishna. But does that mean that we all become quiet? Hare Krishna, did Brahma get covered by Maya and try to mount? Okay, maybe you're referring to his daughter. So Prabhupada says that this is Krishna's arrangement, to further his spiritual advancement. So we should not criticize that. In fact, demigods who have criticized Brahma at that time, they had to take birth in the womb of Devaki and be killed by Kamsa, because of their offense to offend such a great personality as Lord Brahma. So Lord, he's creating a universe, I mean, who are we to judge his activities? And he's the head of our parampara. So his bewilderment like that is spoken by Prabhupada, that it's done by the internal potency of the Lord to advance his spiritual advancement. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, just an observation. In this life we are born as Prabhu or Mataji, but in next life it could be vice versa, and Mataji taking offense at some statement is kind of on the material level. Yes, anyone who takes offense when he reads Shastra is definitely because of false ego. There's no doubt, because he thinks that he's talking about me. But actually Shastra is talking about the conditional state. We are not these bodies. So Shastra is referring to the body when he says that women body, is maybe, less intelligent or this or that. He's talking about this conditional state. But the next life, as you're saying, the woman becomes a man. So this body is temporary. It's the outer covering. We're not male nor female. We're spiritual. Of course, in the higher sense, we're all prakriti, but these male body and female body is not. So yes, if a woman becomes disturbed by hearing these things, it means she's more in the false ego. So that's why I'm praising the Matajis who are able to handle these verses and purports, because it shows their spiritual advancement. They're capable that, yes, it's true, that's the conditioning of women, that's all, and they brush it off. They don't become, whereas women who are still more contaminated, more in the bodily concept of life, would easily become offended reading such verses and purports. Okay, you're explaining how the comments is working. So wherever you have joined from, this is the comment that you're seeing. Okay, so I guess I'm the only one who's seeing all the comments. When I write something, I see it 3 times. Hare Krishna, can you please remove that? Okay, everybody is really upset with the thumbnail. Please. You know, if we have got more viewers because of this Mataji, it's a great... This is a bit the same thing with vegan, you know. Now devotees want to be vegan. Vegan because there's, you know, hurting the cows. There's no material arrangement that can help someone. You cannot help someone with a material arrangement. This is a display of false ego. To think that I shall help someone simply by doing some material arrangement. So I shall not buy milk cow, therefore I'm helping these cows. No, these cows are going to get slaughtered anyway, and they're going to be rotating in the samsara lava. You have done absolutely nothing, my friend. Don't think yourself to be great. But if you take the milk from that cow, even though she's being slaughtered, and you offer that milk to Krishna, then that cow is actually getting benefit. Unless there's a connection with Krishna consciousness, there's no true meaning to goodness. So to not use this Mataji because of some plea that, you know, oh, it's offensive to her, and I'm not connecting her beauty with Krishna's service. Whereas if I'm using her beauty to attract people and come and hear about this very important topic, she will be benefited. The Lord never considers insignificant any little amount of service. You know, during the Damodar month, it is said that the mouse gained liberation because her tail burned. The mouse tail burned, and it's, you know, spun like that in front of the deity. So Krishna took it that, yes, this mouse is offering me ghee lamp. Is the mouse offering ghee lamp? No, it has no idea. But Krishna is so kind. So similarly, this woman that we don't know, who is very beautiful, attractive, and was hiding her face like that, she's getting benefit. You know, we are connecting her with Krishna somehow or other. In actuality, we're spirit soul trying to help each other reach back home. Yes, that is it. But this realization that we're spirit soul is only jnana at the moment. It's theory. It's not realized. It has to become vijnana. So we should not act as if we're spirit soul, because that would be artificial. You know, I'm spirit soul. I'm a brahmachari spirit soul. Therefore, I can spin women in my arms. There are some brahmachari pictures online. You know, they go on Harinam and they hold girls' hand and dance and this. Our spirit soul, Prabhu, you know. If women represent Maya, then why do women themselves get attacked by Maya? So women are representing Maya for men, and men, house, and children are the representation of Maya for women. So Maya is, we are tools in the hands of Maya. Maya is using all conditioned souls to bewilder one another. You see? I want to bewilder you, I do this with that, I do this with this. Just like, you know, like modern day politics, they do that, you know, like some country will want to rule that country, so he'll use another country to declare war. And then in this way he plays, you know, divide and conquer, right? Maya is doing that. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, how to deal with parents, family who don't accept these true perception towards women, which were told by Lord Chaitanya and our Guru Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, so this topic we should not bring up front with our families too fast. We have to be proper judges as to when to speak about that, because they'll get easily offended, you know. Prabhupada did not speak about that too fast. He never really emphasized all this, you know, women being subservient and all in the beginning, because he saw that in the West, girls and boys are, you know, educated on the same level. So if he brings this forward, they'll go away, and whatever little advancement that they had will be spoiled. So our family are not at all purified enough to hear these things generally. So this is not very important at the moment. You just try to encourage your family to chant and read Prabhupada's books, you know, and through their purification, they will start to understand these topics. Hare Krishna, Bhakta Sai, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay, Radhika Das, then you make your own classes on this topic and you use another thumbnail. Okay, yes, so... How to get detached from someone you were already addicted to before joining Krishna consciousness? Well, detachment comes from knowledge. Jnana Vairagya. So without jnana, without knowledge, you cannot get proper Vairagya. So you must understand. So it is there. Shastra says, Sat Sangha Tyag. We must give up the association of non-devotees. So why don't you accept? You must surrender. You must follow authority. So Guru says, Sastra says, Prabhupada says, you give up the association of non-devotees. If you're addicted to a man, attached to a man who's a non-devotee, and you know he's not going to become a devotee, he has no interest in Krishna consciousness, and why be attached to that man? So increase your Krishna conscious activities, then you will develop proper renunciation and knowledge and renunciation. Read more books of Prabhupada, chant more rounds. Are you chanting 16 rounds a day? So if you're not chanting 16 rounds a day and following the 4 regulative principles, then this is where you have to start. Start chanting, increase your chanting all the way to 16 rounds a day, follow the 4 regulative principles, and read Prabhupada books. So in this way you'll get proper knowledge and you'll be able to be detached. So increase your sadhu sangha. Keep associating with devotees. Keep associating with Matajis who are devotees. It would be good if you could join our group, so you can add my number. I've put it there. You contact me and I'll forward you to one Mataji who will add you in our Mataji's group. Without sadhu sangha we cannot make it. So that's where you should start. Okay, aside, this is another topic about the World War III. We're not going to be discussing the Prabhu. There are women who abuse kids and trauma, but seemingly they appear perfect. How to deal with such people, Prabhu? So the only way is to chant Hare Krishna. We first of all should take care of ourselves, make ourselves strong, and preach boldly, But before preaching, we should first of all be strong ourselves. If we're not strong ourselves, what preaching we will do? We'll be cheating, actually. Kanishtani Kari should not artificially try to preach, because he doesn't know how to guide properly, according to Shastra. So focus on yourself, first of all. The whole world is filled with such, unfortunate events, so we cannot address every single one of them like that. But if you become strong spiritually, you'll be able to be a leader, and those who want to be saved will follow you. So okay, we have reached our 3 hours mark. It's not that I'm trying to do these 3 hours classes, but somehow it extends to that. So okay, last one. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm girl with age 23. I have been married 2 months ago. I'm not comfortable with my mother-in-law as she's saying to wear sari, but I'm not interested to wear it. Well, that is very nice. She's asking you to wear sari. It's nice, sari is so beautiful. Women in sari are so much more beautiful than women wearing pants and t-shirts and all. This is not very womanly, Sari is a very nice attire. You should get used. So, and be obedient to your mother-in-law. She's your husband's wife, your husband's mother. So you have to respect her as you respect your mother. So you should carry out her orders. Srimati Draupadi Devi was saying how much she was obedient to Kunti Devi. So you should follow in her footsteps. Be obedient to your mother-in-law and try to develop the taste for sari. Sari are so beautiful and colorful and nice. Of course, in the beginning you might feel some discomfort because you're not used to it, but after a while you get used to it. And this is the clothes that they were in the spiritual world. The whole point is to regain our Siddha Svarupa, our eternal spiritual form. So to wear the clothes that they were in the spiritual world will help definitely. It's purifying, So you should develop a taste for wearing sari. Okay, so we're not going to be going into all this new topic. So yes, you're speaking about masturbation. So this is a whole thing in its own. But we've touched a little bit, don't associate with women. If you don't associate with women, naturally you won't be feeling so much agitation. But not associating with women and non-devotees doesn't mean you sit down and do nothing. You must associate it with devotees. So it takes time. Purification takes time, Not that all of a sudden we can get out of our past bad habits. But if you're serious, if you chant your 16 round, follow the 4 regulative principles, read Prabhupada books, eat only Krishna Prasadam, this is another big one. Associate with devotees, you'll be able to get rid of this past bad habit. I've done, I think, a class about sex, in marriage life at one point. Anyway, so you can ask such questions in our group, take an association with other devotees, they will guide you. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this topic. If you have enjoyed the class, please share it with your friends and relatives. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.